Going live. You're live. All right, there we go. Hello, everyone. Early.
Good afternoon.
Yes. I was just, Caradog was just saying, oh, is this the new version of OBS? And I just thought, well, I'll hit go live and then give my thoughts on the new version of OBS. Because OBS has had a fairly substantial update to it. And yeah, I don't like the new theme because I think it wastes a lot of screen space. I've got the same amount of information here. It just takes up double the amount of space on the screen that it used to. However, on the flip side, though, when adjusting the layout, if I move stuff about, it shows the pixel dimensions and distance between objects and things like that. So it's so much easier to adjust size of stuff on the fly.
Yeah, they've also gone for a narrower, thinner font. I'm having a real problem with English today.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Yes, you can switch back to the old theme if you want to, apparently. I've not tried doing that yet, because my usual mantra when something like this comes along is just get used to the new one because it's not going anywhere. But yeah, I think my only major beef with the new theme, I can probably get used to it being a little bit more wasteful for screen space. But what does annoy me is that the audio mixer, they've made the green bars really dim instead of nice bright green. And I'm like, I like them being nice bright green because it means I can see at a very casual glance what the audio meter is doing, which is what it's for, you know. Whereas these are really dim and I kind of have to look carefully. Like you can hardly see when it's in the orange.
I also don't want to particularly comment on colours because I've no idea what this screen's like.
Yeah, this is how it looks on all the screens that I've seen.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to kind of go, oh, the colours are terrible on this screen that also has terrible colours.
Yeah, it's cheap IPS. You know?
Well, yeah, but it's, you know, I don't want to mischaracterize something due to a limitation of the equipment provided.
Yeah, if we opened it on like the big Dell Cinema thing,
and it looks exactly the same, and you just kind of go,
okay, yeah.
Anyway, well,
yes, hello everyone. How are we doing? Your whole world is flipped upside down because they started early. And what are we doing? What I wanted to do last week and just didn't do. So I'm taking the Noctua out of this big boy and putting an AIO in it. So yes,
a CLLC.
Yeah. What did Dell call it again?
A cryo cooler with enhanced thermal interface.
Heat exchanger.
Ah, yes, with an enhanced heat exchanger or something. Who knows? I was finding the Gamers Nexus ripping apart an Alienware R13 in every way possible. It's possible to rip it apart because I was in a entirely pleasant and well-mannered debate about pre-made computers, and someone said, "Oh yeah, Alienware are an option." I was just like,
no,
"Do not, do not," and they were just like, "Oh really? Why?" Last time I had one, they were saying like 10 years ago because they built their own since. It seemed entirely fair, and I was like, "It used to be."
Yeah, back then.
Watch this now, and they're just like, "Nah."
Yeah.
So yes.
That's almost the problem, is that the modern stuff is 10 years ago wrapped in a horrible plastic gown.
Yeah.
But still 10 years old on the inside. And it's a case, and that's kind of the problem, isn't it?
As Steve said, the mechanical engineering they have done to fit that stuff in that old chassis is incredible. But why?
Yeah, that's
but why have you done this?
Why didn't you put the same amount of time, money, and effort into just developing a new chassis?
Or not even that. Why didn't you spend less time, less money, and less effort and buy someone else's and go,
sure,
please may you make the panels this size?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right, okay. The door is shut and locked. It is. Thank you, Gary Boyd. I'm also on live chat, not top chat, so we're there. Hello, plebs, says Firephone.
Right. Fine.
Yeah. Occasionally in English. Let's see. Okay, right. Let's get started. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to immediately start working on this so it actually gets done this stream. I'm going to start taking the cooler out of this. And so I think we should, will the AIO fit at the front? We're going to make it fit. So
it's okay. I have an angle grinder.
Yeah. The reason why we didn't fit
battery pad.
The reason why we didn't do it when we built it is because I didn't have a 280mm AIO to fit the dual 140 fans at the front of this. However, now I do. One has come free from another system in the shop. However, also we're going to need to elongate some of the holes, just oval them slightly, just so the fan can just shimmy up ever so slightly. So we will be modifying this, but it should theoretically be an invisible modification that will not be seen and not damage it in any meaningful way. I would not hack this case up. I would absolutely never hack this thing up. However, just an absolutely minor modification just to elongate some of the holes, and I can fit an AIO to this.
Hot glue the AIO to the case.
No.
This is not... Never mind.
Oof, I already know where you were going with that. Anyway, so yes. No, those are 3.5-inch bays up at the top, and
they just look like 2.5-inch because of the size of the case.
However, yeah, I've got all the spare fittings and stuff held up there at the moment. So
that's a thing I really like about. Was it?
We'll get to EVGA, by the way, guys. We will talk about that today.
Who makes the A400?
The A400 what?
The P400A.
Phanteks.
Phanteks. That's the thing I like that Phanteks do, is they put all of the fittings and stuff in a 3.5-inch box.
And most of the manufacturers do that these days. Of course, they do that as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I've not seen it.
Yeah,
I just saw that on the P400A, and I was just like, now you don't lose all the bits.
Yeah. These days, that's standard issue, but also that's still a really good thing because there's now a nice little box to put all of the little fittings in and keep them with the case. Because that's what I always advise doing. Like when you build a computer, and there are fittings that are case specifics, like generic screws, you can put them in your collection, but like spare PCI panels and stuff like that, put them in a box and either put them in a hard drive bay or zip tie them around the back or something like that, just so they just stay with the case, you know. It's like these days as well. Another thing I do, it hasn't really happened because most of the most of the AIO liquid coolers I've got in here are all old and are all just cobbled together, and the bits are everywhere for them. But new AIOs in my main systems, like the EK in the Lianli and stuff like that, all of the fittings also stay in the computer. So if I take the EK out of the Lianli, all of the fittings will be there with it to transfer to another computer, and just any day of the week.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Right, so
somewhere there is a pile of screws and brackets and bits for various Acertech generations.
Yeah, and I'm not super fussed because they don't fit any modern stuff anymore anyway. Yeah. So I'm not. I was kind of gathering them together to make kits for the stuff that I had lying around, but all of my old Acertech AIOs, they're all dying one by one anyway because they're all 10 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say, they've had certainly a good run on
That's exactly it. All of my AIOs are dying, and I'm not sad about that because they're unreliable per se. It's just because they've all been heavily used, and that's what happens,
Yeah, and also a case of it's good to replace them now, 10 years later, because we have had updated pump designs, updated microfin designs,
better
updated cold plate curvatures and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a case that you will end up with slightly better performance anyway, just because of those redesigns, because of those improvements.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not a case of go buy brand new AIOs every year. No, but a case of, replacing them after 7, 8, 9, 10 years as it's been. It's certainly a benefit. Oh yeah, you've got a little panel where you can pop all the fans out as well, haven't you?
Yes. Yep. They are 140mm fans on this, which is quite impressive. It's a 2009 case, all 140mm fans all over. This thing was, I was saying to Caradog just before we got started, this thing is weirdly archaic in some areas and oddly ahead of its time in other areas. It's such an oddball case, this, and I love it so much. I'm so happy to have it out and in use, because when I first got hold of it, I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? And we put it out because I'm like, I want to use it somewhere. I don't want it to sit in a box unused and keep it for a project, because it'll never get done. I'll never do it. So I was just like, fine, we're putting it in the hard drive rig. And yeah, I just love having it out. And you know, whenever I have friends come over to visit, and they're like, "Wow, look at that!" and they all like everyone thinks the Lianli looks the Lancool. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's very pretty," but then they see this one and they're like, "What is that, though?" You know, because no one's seen a case like this. It's amazing.
Mm.
Yes, it's a PC X1000 confirmed, and yes, thank you, Spud Nugget, for saving it. So yeah,
he only saved this.
I was going to say
he's not
he trashed a
absolved.
Super Micro or whatever it was. Yeah, it was
which apparently would have sold for ridiculous money to the correct community.
If I had not ripped Spud's arm off and said "send this to me," this would have gone in a skip. So yeah, don't pat yourself on the back too hard, Spud Nugget. You know, thank you for sending it to me. However,
do you have any other random lockups that you need to go through?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's probably a case of you should tell people beforehand that that's going to happen. Because I'm pretty sure there's at least one channel in the Discord that would bite your arm off.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound good for the table.
Okay. It's moderately heavy. It's not massively heavy considering, but also to answer your question, Lead Farmer, this has only got a what is this? This has only got a 500 watt power supply in it, but it's only an i5 in here. It doesn't have a big. It's nothing special. So 500 watts is all it needs. So yeah, I'm probably going to chop this out to a crapper power supply at some point. No, actually, I'll leave the Be Quiet in here because this is actually a nice computer. So, but yeah, I need to swap around some power supplies at some point.
PC case ASMR.
Drags chair across the room. What's up, Awesome 3D Prints? How's it going?
Oh dear. Just.
This is, I think it's all aluminium. I don't think there's any steel in here. I'm 19. Actually,
where are your magnets?
I was about to say there's an easy way to test this. Actually,
where are your magnets? We can 100% confirm whether it is ferrous.
Ferrous?
Yeah.
Bueller?
No, the type of metal.
Yeah, I know. Ferrous, not ferris.
All right, Mr. Grimoire.
I'm gonna say, I was waiting to see if you were actually gonna be like, no, it's actually ferris, you fucking idiot, and I'd be like, however, this time I'm right. Right, it's got steel fittings in it, unsurprisingly. However,
ferrous in it.
In it, mate. Tuesday. That will never stop being funny to me. However, yeah, all the panels are all aluminium. Yeah, it is all aluminium. So yeah, they don't make them like this anymore. It's super cool. All right, I'm almost tempted to ask you to take this Noctua out because I've got no idea how to take it out.
Pull the fan off.
All right, I'll see if I can figure it out. All right, while I start
use a screwdriver.
Okay, while I start taking this guy apart.
Where is?
I was going to say, I think we should probably, get on with talking about EVGA because everyone's going to be like, "Oh, have you heard about EVGA?" It's like, yes, of course we have because everyone's talking about it.
Absolutely. I thought it was mildly humorous in the Discord last night how the conversation popped up in like 3 different channels. I was just like, go to this one.
I saw
the
you
big
doing
conversation
that.
is happening here.
Yeah.
Where is the big boy? The long boy? The major screwdriver?
That's a good question. Oh, it's there on the windowsill. Yeah.
For you will require this.
Very well. Thank you. Yeah, I was seeing various people pop in and be like, "Have you seen the news on EVGA?" in like 5 different channels. I was just waiting for someone to come in and say, "Did you hear the Queen died?" Being like, "Yes, we know."
Shall I grab the bench cam? Does that make sense? Should we have bench cammed?
Yeah, we may as well, I guess.
Sure.
It costs nothing to grab it. I wasn't going to bother. I was just going to face cam for the whole thing. However, it's like, Yeah, we may as well grab the bench cam just because
It's okay.
otherwise people are going to be like, oh, we can't see what's happening. Yeah, that happens. If you pass it to me, and then you can clamp that, and I will lay this down here. Right. I know. No, okay. I'm going to resist the urge to start making jokes about the Queen because that's inappropriate. Anyway, EVGA are not making graphics cards anymore. Or at the very least, EVGA have broken their partnership with NVIDIA, so they're not making NVIDIA graphics cards anymore, and it would appear that there is no plan to make AMD graphics cards either. So that's
or
a
Intel.
thing. Or Intel, yeah. Well, yeah. Who the hell makes an Intel graphics card?
However,
yes,
the statement is not factually inaccurate.
it is true. So yeah, hello Paul Daniels, how's it going? So yeah, kind of a thing really. So obviously, I would imagine that half of the people in the chat by now have watched one of the other reaction videos from one of the mainstream channels already discussing this, but we may as well repeat all of the knowledge anyway for anyone who has not seen it. But yeah, obviously this seems to, the reasoning behind this seems to be is because NVIDIA are just that problematic to work with.
Yeah. From I've watched the Gamers Nexus video and Jace 2 Senses video. I haven't seen any news from it from John Petty. John Petty was also in on the meeting apparently.
Who's John Petty?
He is a long-serving analyst of the industry as a whole.
Okay.
So it makes sense that he would have been involved. I haven't seen any comment from him, but just a case of what it seems like is the CEO of EVGA is in his 60s now.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA's treatment of AIB, Adding Ball Partners, its partners, has been terrible for years. And apparently it has not improved, and therefore it is a very good reason for him to stand back and go, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
It's not worth the time, it's not worth the effort. So yeah. So it's
yeah, and
you know, it's very much a shame because EVGA were certainly the most widely available.
And also some of the nicest.
For an extreme overclocking version of a card.
Yeah.
The Kingpin was the easiest one to buy.
Yeah.
Buying a Galax Hall of Fame card in Europe,
almost impossible.
Virtually impossible. You would have had to have sourced it yourself and imported it from Asia, basically.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, it's a real shame that that's not happening, because obviously that's a bad thing for the extreme overclocking scene, which leads into the overclocking scene, which is just a good flag bearer for the industry. You look perplexed.
Yeah, just the thermal paste is green. That'll be MX5. Don't know what that means, if anything. Just, yeah. You see that green tinge on the thermal paste? And it's MX5, so it should be sort of blue. Odd.
So yeah, so it's going to be a case that for actual overclocking focus cards, you're going to have Hall of Fame and that's it. And then basically people doing an awful lot of modding to Strix cards.
Yeah.
And that's a shame to lose effectively 50% of the extreme overclocking graphics card market.
Yeah.
And whilst sure that's not relevant to the 99.9%.
Well, even aside from extreme overclocking, just EVGA graphics cards in general are just really nice.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
No, I don't care. It's a spam call. All right, there we go. Well, my Pixel was just like, would you like to screen this call? It's coming up saying suspected spam call. Would you like to screen this call? I'm like, no, I just don't want to answer it. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, because just EVGA graphics cards in general are just really nice cards.
Yeah,
and like if it weren't for the fact that I have a Founders Edition at home, I would like to have an EVGA in there, even though I don't really do any serious overclocking.
No, absolutely. It's a case of, certainly I wasn't saying that was the only benefit to him, but just a case of their most substantial loss, I would say.
Yes.
As a sector of the market.
Yeah, one of the irreplaceable things.
Yeah, is very much that extreme overclocking side of it. Because comparing a FTW3, FTW3 Ultra to a Strix, they're probably very similar. Yeah. They're both equally very nice cards. Yeah. So it isn't, comparing just in that sector, it isn't that much of a loss. There's still someone there. There's still someone widely available. There's still someone from a large company that will probably give you warranty. But it won't be the 5-year warranty that EVGA was doing on some of their products and things like that. It will be a year or 2 years or maybe 3 years.
Yeah, EVGA were incredibly ethical, you know.
Yeah, they very much...
They cared.
They very much demonstrated a greater degree of interest in community, in kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's, yeah, it's just very kind of interesting that this has got to the point where it's enough that they don't want to deal with NVIDIA, they don't want to deal with all of the crap. And it's been a comment from many AIBs that they don't find out what the price the motherboards are going to be, what price the GPUs are going to be sold at until Jensen is on stage telling the world.
It's absurd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like again, I was watching the I watched the Jay's 2 cents video on it, and he gave other examples about, getting drivers for unreleased cards and stuff like that. And just the stuff you hear, you're just like, I've heard this before in passing, but just again, hearing it confirmed, it's just like, yeah, they don't know how much the product is going to cost until the public announcement. And I'm like, that's absurd for a manufacturing partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
To not know how much the card is going to cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that it's and the fact that NVIDIA basically tells you the maximum sell price for a model as well. So it's a case that, if you're EVGA or if you're Strix, you can't turn around and go, we want to make a £2,500 3090.
Yeah.
And make it so it's got the most ridiculous VRMs and so on.
Yeah, make
the most ridiculous cooler on it.
Yeah.
Because NVIDIA says you're not allowed to do that. So it's kind of a case of,
yeah. So it's...
Imagine restricting your supposed partners so much in that.
Yeah.
So I can understand them going, no, you've got to get the design approved by us to make sure we don't have the 10,000 series issue of VRM capacitors exploding after 60 seconds.
Yes.
Sure, I can understand that. But at the same time, cutting off EVGA, Strix, Galax from making extreme Halo editions and stuff like that seems so bizarre to me as obviously an outsider, as someone who doesn't actually work in selling graphics cards. Because I would have thought that having those extreme Halo products where people can go, oh wow, look at these, aren't they so amazing, gives you that Halo product effect magnified, because it's people who are passionate about the thing going on about it as well, not just the standard reviewer.
Do you buy into the conspiracy theory that NVIDIA are just playing a very long game of muscling out all their own partners to just exclusively make their own graphics cards?
I don't know if I would call that a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I say, conspiracy theory in air quotes, but
if
the
that makes
theory,
sense.
sure,
But the actions they have taken have indicated that seems like an intention.
Yeah.
Because look at the Quadro cards, and Spud will be able to correct me on this, I'm sure. But as far as I'm aware, all of the Quadro cards are made by PNY, and that's it.
Yeah.
All of the Quadro cards are only made by PMY. There is this design only, that's it. And you only get what NVIDIA tells you you're allowed to have. And these are the cards that sold for $5,000 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the theory they're pulling an Apple. Yeah, they're trying to become entirely vertically integrated. The only thing with that is, I just don't know who's gonna... I feel like if that happens, it's going to worsen the market for GPUs because we'll effectively go down to only AMD.
Yeah, that will suck.
Being the enthusiast card provider.
Mm.
So yeah, so I don't know. Which is secondarily, to lead on to Intel for a little bit, why I'm so sad about Intel completely bungling their DGPU launches.
Yeah,
because
man.
even if I wasn't going to buy one, I want them to exist because competition is good. Look at what happened when we had competition in the CPU space.
Yeah.
We suddenly went from 4-core, 8-thread i7s all the way up to Alder Lake in how many years? 4 years? 5 years? Yet we sat on 4-core, 8-thread i7s for 6 years, 7 generations, and had bugger all of performance improvement. And then in 3 generations, because AMD's around, we've suddenly gained 50% CPU performance. And now because AMD is competitive again on the GPU side at the high end, the rumours are that we're going to see a near doubling of performance for the next generation, up and down the stack. Even if that's coming at ludicrous power, that's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah.
But competition is good because we're gaining more performance.
Yeah. This is a very exciting time to be in the custom PC scene.
It feels like, to a much lesser extent, but the early 90s scene again, where every year your hardware would almost be obsolete because of a rate of progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a case of, whilst that's terrible on one hand because leaving entire swaths of people behind who can't afford to spend £4,000 a year on computers is terrible and ridiculous, but it's also a case of it's really exciting from a viewpoint of what will the cutting edge bring? What will that give us?
Yeah.
What new incredible things that we couldn't even conceive as being possible, even just last year, will we have next year?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not great for people to be left behind, but stagnation is even worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people being left behind, this can be managed. People don't have to have the latest and greatest. That's not a requirement.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, technology stagnating because there's one despot at the top of the stack who can't be bothered to innovate because he doesn't have to. That's bad for everyone.
Yeah.
No one wins in that situation. And that seems to be the direction that NVIDIA is kind of pushing toward. And yeah, I think they've been playing that long game for a while now. And
yeah, they certainly tested the waters with the 10 Series Founders Editions.
Yeah. However, hopefully, it's disappointing that my guess is by the look, one would hope that with AMD now snapping at their heels, they would actually sort of consider changing their ways, so to speak.
I do not expect to see any change whatsoever coming out of this.
No.
None at all.
Yeah. Clearly, my guess is that EVGA probably had this rattling around in their noggin for a while, and they were like, let's see what 4000 series looks like. And they've taken a look at everything they know about 4000 series and been like, no, enough is enough, we're done. Case in point, what were you saying about the latest rumors for power requirements in the 4000 series?
Oh, well, I can't remember specific numbers, but there was a comment that, like, whatever the top end product is going to be, the Halo card, whether it's going to be called the 4090 Ti, or whether it's going to be a Titan or whatever, that absolute top of the stack card was going to have 2 VBIOS options, a option that will actually work with Power Supply's 450 watt edition, and the unlocked edition that was going to be saying like 800 watts.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
so
whilst I sit on the side of let Halo products use whatever power they want, It's also a case of, if it is true that NVIDIA is being so prescriptive on designs that AIBs can't actually deviate whatsoever, how are they going to cool in an any way attractive, any way warrantyable fashion an 800-watt card?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I think that EVGA were sitting down at that meeting and saying, okay, so let me get this straight. You know, in order for this card to operate at its theoretical maximum, it's going to need again, working on rumors and speculation, let's pretend an 800-watt VRM, yet we're not allowed to do anything exotic or deviation from a stock reference model that we all know can't cut the mustard anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look at the cooling for the memory chips on the 3090 Ti FE.
That's right.
Sorry, the 3090 FE.
Yeah, the Fans Edition cards don't have enough cooling to reach their full potential.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, so the reference design is not good enough, but yet they're not allowed to deviate in a meaningful, in the way that would be required to actually do good enough. So I can kind of see that at that point they sat at that table and was it Andrew was his name? The CEO of EVGA?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was Andrew something or other. You know, he obviously looked at that and was just like, now is the time. Then this is not getting any better. It's time to end an abusive relationship, kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's just like, I don't know. But the comment is obviously from what AMD has officially stated about their next generation thus far, is the only thing of they're expecting 50% performance per watt improvements. So even if you release a card at ISO power with current generation on AMD's side, you're still getting 50% more performance. Even if Intel comes in, even if NVIDIA comes in and releases a 4000 series that is twice as fast as current generation, you're still getting half of that for the same power as this generation. So it's kind of a case of going, certainly from a power front, that's damn sure a consideration.
Yeah.
Also, it's going to mean that the cards are quieter. Also, it's going to mean that the cards are actually warrantyable. So it's kind of a case, it's just like, I get the feeling separately as well, if this is what is rumoured to be happening with that level of power consumption, it strongly infers that NVIDIA thinks AMD is going to be very competitive this generation.
Yeah.
Which is nothing but a good thing for the industry.
Yeah.
Because AMD being competitive on GPU is good for everyone.
Yeah.
AMD being competitive on CPU is good for everyone. Intel being competitive on GPU would have been good for everyone.
Yeah. We're not entirely sure what's going to happen, but it sure as hell looks like it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would have been good for everyone.
Yeah. And
just, again, competition is good.
It's a bummer that we're not going to see EVGA in part of that tussle. Yeah. I'm glad that they're not leaving the business altogether. You know, if they'd actually shut down, that would have been a crying shame. I think it's kind of like, obviously they're still making motherboards, they're still making power supplies,
LN2 pots, capture cards, sound cards, etc. So they're still doing all of that stuff. Keyboards, mice. So they're still doing all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see them probably focusing on that a lot more.
Yeah,
because they're going to have significantly more manpower now to look at those more niche areas.
Yeah,
because they'll have so much more. You know, they'll save so many resources that were being funneled into the GPU division.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I can't remember who someone said in the chat and so on, is a case of the comment from EVGA was that on the 3090 Ti, at the price it's currently selling at, they are losing money.
Yeah.
And on the 3090, they're losing money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a case of, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that shouldn't. That's what's going on. We can see just by deducing based on MSRPs and stuff like that. But also, you know, the Halo cards like the 3090s, that should be where the profit is. You know.
Well, yeah, it certainly makes sense to me for it to be there.
Yeah. Right. Front fans out. So I'm going to chuck this to one side and we'll get the cooler out of the old computer now.
Rattle, rattle.
Yeah, right, I'm going to cart this in that direction.
Ah!
Are you well?
Well, there's just stuff everywhere.
What are you implying?
There's stuff everywhere.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm staying on this side.
Well, I'm slowly getting pushed out of frame, otherwise.
Well, I'm going to like put that here.
Okay.
You know.
Because the centre of the frame's actually here.
Yeah.
For the middle of the bench.
Yeah, well, I'm doing this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Stay over there then.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Cool.
Glad to hear about it.
I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you.
I'm pleased you're happy for someone.
If only myself. So yes.
Yeah.
We need a Teltac to come and fix Adamant IT. I live in fear. I live in fear. We do need Teltac to actually come down and do a show with us at some point.
I thought you were going to say we just need him to come down because we haven't seen him in 5 years.
Well, yeah, that as well. Yeah, I forget. It's been a hot minute. I mean, I think you've seen him more recently at shows, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like you've been to trade shows or events or whatever, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since he left town.
He has put on significant weight in his face. So the first time you see him, it will just be like...
Boy, you ordered too many Uber Eats during lockdown.
Yeah. I found it very funny. We were testing something with emojis on SMS. Right. And I sent him a screenshot and he went, oh, that's an old profile picture. And because he hasn't updated his profile picture on Google for ages.
Yeah.
And it's just synced the one from his Google account.
Yeah.
And then we were talking and I was just like, oh yeah, that picture's like 18 years old. Sort of thing. And I was just like,
aha, baby photo.
I'm like, look at you. You were so young.
Right. Carol needs to be in frame. He's the main attraction.
I hasten to disagree.
Right.
We're an equal opportunities attraction here. So where's the motherboard gone?
Is it
still in the case?
I'm going to switch cameras because you guys can't see anything as to what I'm doing at the moment.
That goes that way.
Yeah. Oh, were you figuring out orientation? Yeah.
Yes.
I did not clean this when I took it apart.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's in that state of don't wobble it too much because if you move it too much, the dust falls off of it.
The dust is already falling off of it.
That's skin cells.
What's it? The incels?
Dead skin cells.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going on about the incels again.
That's what all the YouTube comments scream anytime there's dust in frame. They're like, "Oh, don't breathe that in." I'm like, "My dude, I'm not huffing this." You know, it's like every time I solder and there's smoke coming up, it's like, yes, I know I don't have an extractor, but people think that I'm just huffing the fumes as they're rising off of the board, and I'm like, no.
I mean, are you telling me you don't huff solvents?
Well, that's actually a problem. Since I've switched to genuine Amtex from the fake stuff, the genuine stuff smells really nice. It's actually a problem. Like I catch a whiff of it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's quite pleasant." No, forbidden aroma. Do not smell. Which is unusual because normally I don't like solvents and chemical smells. However, I hate to say it, but it actually smells quite nice. I'm like, no, forbidden. The forbidden glade, Amtex scent.
It's like petrol.
I don't like the smell of petrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, petrol and like Sharpie pens and stuff like that. I don't like that smell. Right, that guy is out. So this... Oh, that's one of the... What fans have I got on this? I'm going to take these fans off anyway. I've got Noctua Chromaxes on this. However, I'm going to use... should I use these Noctua Chromaxes, or should I use the stock fans that are in there? Like
those ones.
Yeah, because like these are going to be way better, but also like those are the Lianlis that match all the other fans in the case. That's
the question is, are you going to be able to see the fans?
The fans will be on show, yeah, and like the Noctua Chromax.
Use them.
Actually no, it depends how I mount them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you going to mount it where the fans are visible?
Yeah.
Because if you do, I'd use the Lianlis just so the fans all match.
Yeah.
If you're not, I'd use those.
Yeah.
And I would lean towards using those anyway, just because they are better fans.
Yeah, like these are going to be drastically higher performing. These are old fans, and they're not exactly exotic fans anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not that you explicitly need the performance, but because it's available.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put the Noctuas in there.
Take it.
Also, otherwise,
it's also a case of it's not like they're bright blue or
no,
neon day glow Corsair LED.
Yeah, none of this Corsair RGB rubbish or anything like that. What the hell is this? A light loop RGB. Never catch on. It'll never catch on. Right. No, absolutely not.
Forbidden.
That's the Delta finger chopper.
I just like the fact that the hub is so large that it actually reduces the size of the fan blades.
Yeah. I need. The reason why that's out is I'm going to make an extractor fan out of that. So yeah, I've de-pinned some of it just so I could hotwire it. But yeah, I will. I need to put like. I don't know what I don't know. I need to design a system for that. Because I need to basically just put some hose on that, so that can sit down on the floor, blowing into like a charcoal filter or whatever. So I need to buy a filter that I can put it on, and then have a tube coming up onto the bench, and then I need like a little control box that just turns it on and allows me to set a speed on it, preferably via PWM and not by voltage control, because it's a PWM fan, so that's obviously how I want to control it. So yeah.
Or just do what you've done to the Noctua fan in your bench power supply and put 24 volts into a 12-volt fan.
I still need to figure out what I'm going to do about that.
Put a 24-volt fan in there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, did Noctua make?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that answers that question then. Fine.
It's what I told you at the time when you said, this is 24 volts or 12 volts. I went, here you go.
Fine. Anyway.
I thought I just dropped the microphone. Somehow it just disappeared inside my shirt.
That's the problem with these. Legitimately, like the reason why I have mine mounted externally is if I put on a t-shirt, if you put it on the inside like the way you've clipped it, it flips inside out, so it's pointing down. And it doesn't seem to do that on shirts, but it does it on t-shirts. So that's why
I would say I'm aided by this being reasonably thick.
And like on this one, it tries to flip outside, but if it flips downwards like that, it still hears me. But if it flips inside, then it just gets muffled. So
absolutely. Did you know that toilet paper is actually a HEPA filter? Really? It's just paper.
I find that HEPA is small particles, isn't it?
I think. Helps everyone poo actively.
Brutal Pizza, thank you for the £2. Opinion on the NHD15? Well, it's one of the best air coolers that money can buy.
It is.
Arguably the best air cooler money can buy.
The mounting, I think the main selling point is the SecuFirm 2 mounting mechanism, just because it's so convenient and it's so very easy. So yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
I think the is it Assassin? I can't remember who makes the Assassin.
Deepcool?
Yeah, maybe. I think that is technically better performing. As in you'll get lower temperatures out of it, but I've no idea. But yeah, like as an option, if you buy one, you're certainly not going wrong.
Yeah.
And I think there is certainly an argument to be made for the quality of life features in regards to how good the mounting is, and just the fact that obviously Noctua have proven that they will support them for a long time by releasing different mounting kits and things. And if you give them a proof of purchase, they'll send you one for free and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're very much not to our like EVGA, but cooling, aren't they? You know, they're one
kind
of these
they're very
small
much
specialist companies that actually care about making a good product, kind of thing, and care about supporting. Like they know that that kind of level of customer care brings them a sort of very niche but dedicated fan base, kind of thing. No pun intended.
But also a case of they are certainly very expensive.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a case of, I think you do get a lot of you do get something for that cost. It's not just expensive for nothing.
Yeah.
But
their fans are expensive, but also they're bloody good fans.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's like, it's a case of like Arctic. Are they called Arctic Cooling? Arctic Tooling as opposed to Arctic Silver.
Yes.
Who works in cooling.
Yes.
Arctic Cooling, the maker of MX5, them people, the Liquid Freezer 2, those people.
Yes.
They make very good products, but they also intentionally make them very, very cost effective for their performance. So they don't have the same nice feel. They don't have the same boxing. They don't have the same periphery stuff to it. So it's a case of you're getting better value for money from a pound per performance point of view, but it's a case of the mounting for them is certainly more difficult than those, and things like that. You know, there will be slightly more rough edges on their air coolers because they're made down to a price.
Yes.
So it depends on what you're valuing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see.
And if you're valuing just the raw performance, the make my CPU temperature as low as possible for the least amount of money, the Fractal, no, the Arctic stuff wins.
Yes.
You know, or it's a case of like, similarly, you know, you've got like the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4, which is a similar size to this, but it's a smidgen cheaper because it doesn't have the prestige.
Yeah.
But it's arguably very similar performance and apparently very similar actual mechanical quality. So it's kind of, all of that.
Yeah.
But I think the very short answer to that question is yes, it's a good cooler, but you're paying for it in a monetary sense because of all of the extra stuff.
Yeah. Yes, it is a good cooler. You do pay extra for it. However, also that money seems to be well spent. You know, it is a good value for money prospect, as opposed to some items where you're like, it's expensive and you're paying for the brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's not bad, but you can buy a less prestigious brand for less money that will give you equal performance.
Missed. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked, am I going to review the LTT screwdriver? If someone buys me one, sure. However, I have no intention of spending the money that one costs. And because also, the other reason why I don't have any particular interest in the LTT screwdriver is it's too big for my use case. I fix laptops, and you ain't taking a laptop apart with an LTT screwdriver. Or if you are taking a laptop apart with an LTT screwdriver, you're doing it wrong. Because a screwdriver with a handle this big on a laptop, that's how you shear off screws. That's how you shred threads.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's also,
there's a reason why micro screwdrivers have tiny handles on them. It's to limit the amount of force you can put.
Yeah. It's also looking at it from someone who's never used a ratcheting screwdriver.
This has gone on without modification.
Yeah. I don't know what the benefit of a ratcheting screwdriver actually is. I'm not saying that they are useless. I'm not saying that they're worthless because I don't have the experience, but I don't see what the purported benefit is because I can do this very quickly and this isn't a ratcheting screwdriver.
Yeah.
If it's light enough for me to be able to ratchet on a really thin shaft, it doesn't require much torque, so I don't need a big screwdriver.
Yeah, the big thing with a ratcheting screwdriver is that you can use it one-handed. Because with this, if I'm undoing a screw, if I'm undoing a screw here, it's very. I mean, I've kind of got to hold the screwdriver as I get my hand around to do another turn and stuff like that, instead of just going, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. Is it's one-handed basically, but I feel I question how useful that is in the real world, because when doing tools, 9 times out of 10, you know, I feel like you should have a second hand available, because you've then, like, even after you've undone it, you need to pick up the screw and stuff like that anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think a ratcheting screwdriver is useful either myself.
Certainly, again, in the context of building, disassembling.
Yeah.
laptops.
Well, that's the thing. Like, every time we're doing stuff on this counter, this one screwdriver, the big screwdriver as we call it, this is the only thing we ever use on this, unless we're doing something small, in which case we need specialist screwdrivers anyway. This is literally a one-size-fits-all for desktop computers.
And it is kind of a case of that's why I kind of struggle with that, because it's like you can buy a really nice one of these for like £5 or £6.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah, and like, again, we're not saying that there's no purpose to a screwdriver with multi-bits and stuff like that, because obviously there's other stuff that you would want to unscrew other than a computer. But
it's viewing it from the viewpoint of you reviewing it.
Yeah,
that's how all of this is prefaced, is from the point of view of you using it for your work.
Yeah,
it just doesn't seem like a tool that is beneficial to your work.
No, like, so far,
and specifically the comment is to your work.
Yeah, so far we've taken a CPU cooler out of a computer, and we've taken a liquid cooler out of another computer, and now we're fitting it back into the first one, and we've done it with just this Stanley Phillips No. 2 screwdriver. So yeah, it's not a product that is useful to me at any rate. And for that reason alone, I'm not sure that I could do a good review of it, because it's not something that's useful to me. Who was it? Was it Farm Tools or Farm?
What?
Project Farm. Project Farm. Yeah, Project Farm did the review of it that went viral. And like, they are obviously a channel that does serious reviews on tools in a much more workshop, mechanical workshop environment, I would assume. And they seem much better qualified to give an opinion on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, I watched a video a week or so ago, but I think basically the comment was they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's certainly not a rip-off.
That's one thing that I would like to make clear about the LTT screwdriver. Despite anything that I might say about it, about whether I think the price is worth it, whether I think it's something that you should buy, whether I think it's useful or not, there's not a doubt in my mind that it's a really good screwdriver.
Yeah.
There's not a doubt. Like, from the get-go, there's never been a doubt in my mind that it would be a good product. Same with the backpack. I'm sure the backpack is really good. That's nothing to do with whether I think you should buy one or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a really important factor in all of this. You know, me saying whether a product is worth buying or not is nothing to do with whether the product is actually good or not. Just because a product is good doesn't mean you should buy it.
Yeah,
and just because a product is not, just because I don't think you should buy a product, that's not necessarily that it's bad. It just means it's not something that I think is useful or a worthwhile purchase for most people's use case.
Yeah, or certainly for most people looking to do something in the same vein as what you're doing. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's just like, for me, like the iFixit screwdriver set, that's something that I would review at some point. I might put, like, at some point, when I've decimated that set enough, I will put their lifetime warranty to the test. Yeah. And I will say, hi, I managed to mangle your screwdrivers. What would you guys offer me on this? Will you guys replace them? And if they turn around and say, yeah, sure, we're sending you out replacements, then at that point I'd be like, holy crap, that lifetime warranty is everything that people said it was. And at that point I'd say, yeah, I'm going to review these, and I'm going to say, no, they don't last as long as the wearers, but you get free replacements when they're knackered.
Yeah.
Which is arguably infinite value, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's something that I would review. But yeah, the LTT screwdriver, it's not useful to me, so I don't really have any interest in reviewing it. So yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really good driver. I wouldn't pay $70 for one. That's too much for any one tool for PC builders. Yeah, again, I would rather spend $70 on a set rather than a single tool. I don't believe in one tool that does it all. I believe in having lots of tools that build up a toolkit. It's the reason why, I use like the secure electric screwdriver I use. I really enjoy that as well. But when people say to me, "What's your favorite screwdriver and what screwdrivers do you use?" my first response is always Wera Craftform, because those are the ones where I know this screwdriver will never fail me, because I've been using the same ones for well over 5 years now, and they're still in mint condition. And are
they really all that old?
I think
didn't
so.
realize.
I must have been using them since. I'll have to look through. The way to tell is to look through my old videos and see when they start appearing in the videos. But I must have been using them since 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
And that's 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
In the before times, in the long ago,
Don't speak to me of the old magics, which I was there when they were written.
And yeah, as I say, in a workshop environment, in a shop that is fixing computers on a daily basis, having small screwdrivers that last that long is saying something, because all of the screwdrivers that I had before the Weras would last a year, maybe 2 years, before I'd shredded the head and ruined the handle on them.
Yeah, it's the Drapers and the Stanleys
and all the other ones I had before them. The rubber comes off the handle. The head gets notched where it's been spun in too many screws and stuff like that, and it stops working properly. The Weras, I've had those for years now, and they are still the best screwdrivers on the bench with their current level of wear on them.
Yeah. So I got a whatever the big handled Craftform are called.
Oh fuck! This isn't symmetrical. I thought this was symmetrical. It is not. So now it does not fit in. I've got to flip this over. I can't remember what it's called, but the big one.
Basically one that would have a handle similar to that. I've got one of those. It's a PH2.
Okay, yeah.
Because of how sharp the tip is, you can use it on basically everything.
Ooh. Could you help? Oh, that probably wasn't going to fall out, actually, but it looked like it was about to fall out, hit the floor, and go.
Thankfully not.
Just put these to one side, because I keep just... Right, anyway. Just in case anyone missed that, this mounting plate, I thought it was symmetrical, but it's actually not, and I've got it on upside down.
Oh, yeah, because there's...
yeah, those are offset, aren't they? Yeah. Because I was looking at this side and I was like, oh, it's symmetrical. I can put it. It doesn't matter which way up it goes. However, it does matter. So yeah, I've got to flip that over. Let's see. Why did LTT make a screwdriver only for money? They're making stuff that they think is useful, that people will want.
And also a case of they're making stuff that they want to. If that makes sense.
That's it.
It's a case of
Linus makes stuff like Linus's rationale was because he was using a Snap-on ratcheting screwdriver, and basically I can't remember specifically what it was, but he had some complaints about his Snap-on where he was like, it's really good, but it doesn't do this, and I've got this beef with it, so I'm going to make one that doesn't have those problems.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like with clothing, he was like, I want to buy some clothing that is ethically sourced and really high quality, and I want socks that don't develop holes in the bottom. So I want some socks that have got like a reinforced sole or something like that. So I'm going to make some socks that have got reinforced soles.
Yeah.
That's how they come up with products, basically, is when Linus looks at something that he uses day to day and is like, I want one that's better than this. So he makes one.
Yeah.
That's literally it. Same with the backpack, he wanted a backpack that is tech focused, that does all the things that he wants a backpack to do.
Yeah.
So that's what he designed.
So he made one.
Yeah. Which is fair enough. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also a case of you as a purchaser of those products part of the reason why you're purchasing that one over anyone else's is because you want to purchase the LTT one, so you want to be in the LTT group.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You want to be a part of that club, that group. And you're financially supporting them, but also a case of because you've looked at the product and kind of gone, yeah, I want something that solves this problem as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that.
That's it. So yeah, I think yeah, and so yeah, I've got no beef with any of the LTT products. They're just again the backpack and the screwdriver. I'm less enthusiastic about them because they're not things that I think they're not things that I need. And I think there are existing products that do just as good a job already out there. But again, this doesn't mean that the LTT ones are bad per se.
Yeah, and I think the majority of the commentary around the screwdriver and the backpack is just how long they've been coming and for how long they've been talking about them. If they hadn't been talking about them for as long as they had been talking about them,
yeah,
I don't think there would have been much commentary about it.
Yeah.
It's obviously a case of when people talk about people making stuff, there is a comment of the fact of they aren't necessarily making it in the sense of owning the factory, owning the place where the cotton is grown, owning the truck that it's shipped across on, and so on. No, they're going to be going to a company that's doing things like that, doing a manufacturing. But it's a case of, does that preclude NVIDIA from being described as the manufacturer of a GPU, or Gigabyte being described as the manufacturer of a GPU, when actually TSMC built the core that goes on that GPU? Nippon Chemicon made the capacitors that go on there. It's kind of a case of there is an understanding when people use these words. It's a case of coming up with designs, coming up with a specification for something to be built to and so on, defines them as a manufacturer, or at least a bringer to market.
Manufacturing partners are a thing, and also, again, bringing to market is a thing, you know. I had this issue with like the NLBA, the battery tester that I use. When I released, I don't know if you remember this drama happening, but when I released my review on that, I had a chap phone me up and say sort of, oh, you should pull that video because, you know, the guy didn't make it and he didn't design it and he ripped off this, that and the other and stuff like that. And actually in a panic, I did actually pull the video because I was like, oh, you know, I made a mistake here. And I pulled the video temporarily while I investigated. And I looked into it and it's just like, yeah, it's based on an existing chipset. And TI wrote the API for it. But, however, it's just like, but no, you can't go and buy one. You can buy a dev kit, which is a circuit board and an API on a flash drive. That's not a product. This guy took the stuff that Texas Instruments designed and brought it to market and wrote the front end so a layman could actually use it all. That's called bringing a product to market. So that means yes, he did make it. So a lot of people just sometimes they're looking for excuses. So it's just like, no, LTT don't literally have a factory that's making the screwdriver. However, yes, they have a manufacturing partner that actually built it for them. Are they just buying and branding them from China? No, that's disingenuous to say
absolutely. That. And if that's all they were doing, I could understand a lot of commentary about it and it being very expensive for a rebrand.
I can jump on Alibaba and I can find someone who will make some Adamant IT branded screwdrivers probably in an hour. You know, did I make them? No. However, LTT have spent years working with manufacturing partners to get this screwdriver made exactly how they want it. And I think at this point they've the amount of work they've put into developing that with that manufacturing partner, I think that grants them the
monker.
Yes.
The moniker.
Yeah, the moniker of yes, it's our screwdriver, we made it, kind of thing. So could you hold that for a sec while I lay this down?
Okay, I thought you were just going to go.
Oh, no, because I've got to put the thing on the thing and the thing into the thing.
Yes, your things.
This is the point where I put it in and realised that I took it off and then mounted it upside down again.
Yes. Drops. Slices
Good news,
cable.
I didn't.
Congratulations.
All right.
So, you said that people sent in bottle openers.
Oh, yes. Yes. So the two new bottle openers we've got Mjolnir, and we've got.
Oh, it is actually Mjolnir.
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 And also, where's the other one? Oh, there. Yes. And also this one. This one didn't have a note attached to it. I took it out of the packaging because I unboxed it and stuff. And this one looks kind of interesting because it's a thing, and I think you put it on and you push it down, and it lifts the battle cap, and it goes.
The battle cock.
The bottle cap.
Okay.
The battle cop, yes. The cop who does battles. Anyway, so yes, I'm going to carry on my merry down because that needs drinking up. So I'm going to acquire.
I'm going to carry on my merry way.
Yep. Today I shall be drinking merry down from a 750 milliliter bottle.
This smells very sweet.
The reason why I didn't unpack that as well is I'd like you to admire the artwork and the pixels of the artwork, which I'm sure they didn't rip off from an artist's website.
Specifications, colours, and contents may vary.
Yes, and if I had £1 for every pixel in that image, I think I'd have 10p. So, does it come up under the camera if we show it off? So if we put that, I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it, but the artwork they've used here is so pixelated. Can we see? No, it's not. I'd have to refocus the camera and stuff. However, it's hilariously how it's terrible. So yeah, I thought it was very funny. I'm just used to open the beer. I admire the I admire the humor in it. I think it's very cool. I just think it's very funny how, just clearly not their art is what I'm saying.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if be worthy, shall possess the power of Thog.
Are you exaggerating, or is it that bad? Let me. Wait. You're not joking. He's not joking. I thought he was. Hang on a moment. I'd have to refocus the camera. I can't because we're on thing. It's probably not going to detect it.
Oh.
No. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, it doesn't pick it up through RDP.
How bizarre.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hang on a sec.
It's fine.
Hang on a sec. This is going to be great.
Yes. Swap to the microscope.
Yes.
Power on the microscope.
Powering on microscope. This is not going to work. We're going to be able to see about one letter at a time.
There you go. Oh,
Whosoever holds this.
Thus.
No, that's this. That's a THIS. This hammer. This hammer. If he, it's supposed to be a H.
It's supposed to be a her.
If he be worth it. Yeah. If he be worthy, yada yada yada, Thog.
Or just those six.
Yeah. It's leet speak. All right. Whoop. Thog. I thought that was very funny. Let's go back to here.
However, it is entirely functional.
Ah, good. So yes, we're continuing on. We're continuing on our collection of novelty bottle openers now. So yeah, we're going to try and attach as many as we can together. So yes, is that from Avengers? Yeah.
Sorry. Is that from what?
The top line. Oh yeah, and also since we've got the microscope to hand, I as I say, I want to put this on blast just because I think it's funny. Behold all of these pixels.
I love
you can see here that we're not that big, mighty hammer, and like there's Thor's face.
I just like the fact though that because of the level of zoom, you can see the dot pitch and you can see how sharp the dot pitch is.
Yeah.
But then the digital image is awful.
It was scaled up in MS Paint, I'm fairly sure.
So, yeah. Hey, at least Marvel can't claim, copyright infringement.
No, not for Thog's hammer.
Yes, look at my mighty Thog.
Yes, I had a chuckle at that. Thanks for the bottle opener, by the way, Winston. Winston
excellent.
sent this one in. The other one, the rock bottle opener, as in rock and roll style rock, not to be confused with Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Or a rock.
Yeah. That one was anonymous, so thank you to anonymous sender.
Very well. I will have to use that next time.
Yep, I would have used that one, but I've got to finish off this Merry Down because it's been there for a week. Like it's got a cap on it and everything, but still.
Also, yes, because of all of the skin cells.
I really like Merry Down. Actually, it's a really nice cider. Also, I didn't realise it was 6.8. It's quite a strong one as well. Good. Right. New cider, Thog's Nama Ale. Okay. I'll put the other screws in that in a minute. Are the fans actually pointing in the right direction? Yeah, they are. I did get that right.
Congratulations. You managed to put an AIO in.
As a special treat. We only do the most advanced stuff on this podcast. Yeah. Right, some new thermal paste. Oh no. I should have done a dry wipe first to get most of it off.
The problem is when I see Dwayne the Rock Johnson written as a word, I always first read it as Dwayne.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I don't know where that came from.
Ooh, whoa.
Right, we need that. Thermal paste. And we're going to need that as well.
You need that first, yes.
Yeah. I liked this design. Just the ring clamp mount. I thought it was a good design. I don't know how well it held up in terms of actual performance, but from an ergonomics perspective, I thought it was pretty good. Oh, this is the last of the MX-5, I think. There we go. That's spent. That's enough. This is an i5 8600K for those of you playing along at home. So it's pretty easy to cool. Oh. Oh yeah, I was confused because this had screws and I've got screws sticking up. That's fine. I can take this ring off and put on. That would probably go directly down into the back plate, wouldn't it?
I would presume so.
Yeah. Should I do that, or should I just get a newer ring? Because we've got one, the new style ring. Oh, I've got one next to me here.
Oh, as in one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just stick this guy on there because Acertech, it's universal. So I'll put the new style one on there because I prefer the newer thumb screws look nicer. Dwayne the Rock TM Johnson.
Sounds like you're playing that bunny game.
It's over.
Oh no! How terrible! I missed it.
It was a good game. Yeah, Rabby Ribby. It was legitimately a good game. I'm just sad about the post game where the difficulty ramped up from, challenging to to a Japanese Toho game. Wow, you got some pretty good speed out of that. Thank you.
I didn't know if they were height adjustable.
I need some more thumb screws. Were there only 2 thumb screws?
Ah!
Are you done?
Are you stupid?
Are you dense? Are you obtuse?
Do you have a little screwdriver? Where is the little screwdriver?
Probably in
the
the mugs.
Screwdriver.
That's adequate. All right, let's see. Begin an avalanche of opinions on thermal paste. Absolutely, absolutely.
If you're using an avalanche as thermal paste, I believe you are doing it incorrectly.
I'm also using mismatched thumb screws here, which is a bummer, but I'll probably swap them out at some point when I actually find some matching ones.
Happy little screwdriver.
All right. Power. Can tuck up the back there. Right, what else is going on in the tech world this week?
Opinions on graphite thermal paste. No, not thermal paste, thermal pads.
Thermal pads, yeah. That can go on optional.
Because this isn't an Asus board, so it won't have a fit.
Yeah. Well, also, I'll plug the front fans into the CPU fan header. Can I tuck that down the back? Yeah, graphite thermal pads. I've never actually used one.
No,
but
I just don't particularly see.
I don't understand.
The use case.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand what the use case for them is either, because it seems to be designed for an instance where, well, the only use case seems to be when you're doing testing of something. So you're changing something out often, but also where
if you're just doing testing,
where you don't need absolute thermal performance. Because if you're doing absolute thermal performance, then thermal paste is better. So I think it's only good if you're doing like QA. Like if you've got a box of 100 CPUs that you have to test, then you can use the same thermal pad and cooler on each CPU and stress test it, because it doesn't matter what temperature it runs at as long as it's not 100. So that seems to be the use case for them, is if you're rapidly testing CPUs.
Yeah, the other use case as well would be where you want very consistent performance for a very long period of time. Because it's certainly a case...
Are they super stable, are they?
Yeah. Because it's a case that like thermal paste will expire after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, sort of thing.
Yeah,
whereas
true.
with a graphene pad or a graphite pad, that apparently is very, very stable, and you will give basically identical cooling performance on day 1 or day 101,000 or whatever it is, 10 years later. So it's kind of a case of if you're setting something up and you need it to run for a very long time, whilst it's not going to be massively thermally constrained, you're too big. I have a solution.
No one's ever said that to me before.
It's okay, I've got your smaller one.
Yeah, we might have to. Can I Jenga that in? Firstly, are we actually too big? Yeah, I think we actually are. If I can Tetris this in, will it physically fit? And I think the answer to that is no. Oh, that's unfortunate. I wonder how big the 1060 I've got in the NZXT is. Because I'd rather put that one in there than that one. Like, we can put that one in there now for the sake of getting this done. It can't be longer than this boy is. This is a triple slot WindForce.
The one in the H500 stops at the end just before the end of the motherboard.
Oh right, yeah, that's shorter than this. Then this is a really long graphics card, considering it's a 970.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, it would.
Put the fans outside the gate.
Here.
Yeah.
Just about give enough space.
Yeah. Can I? Okay, hang on a sec. Where's? If I put that in like that. Right. No, that's absolutely not going to fit without modification. I could modify this to fit. I'm not going to do that today. I'll consider that for future reference, though. Yeah, okay, I'll put the 1060 in there for now. Unless, are you pulling that out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I just thought I would do it whilst you were Tetrising.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got another 1060. I've got a longer 1060 in another computer, and we're going to pull that out and put that in here instead. Because this EVGA 1060, this is my tester card. It's nice and compact. I don't really want to put that in here. So, all right. Turnip Gaming, thank you very much for the £10. Good afternoon, lads. Have you both ever forgotten to turn off your PC because it was that quiet? I did a similar thing when I first got your Series S by leaving it on for 3 days.
Have you ever hot swapped to CPU?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there was that one time. Not really, because I've always had a very light up and fancy computer, so you kind of don't forget that it's on. However, I do operate, my computer at home is very quiet, and I do very much enjoy the sensation of when I turn it off, like having to go, is it off? Yep, because I can't hear it kind of thing, and just, So no, I've never forgotten to turn it off, but I do very much appreciate quiet stuff. I'm a big fan of ultra quiet.
You're good. Where did the other one go? Oh, there.
Yeah. Do you want to lob the... yeah, okay, yeah. Stick that in. If it'll fit, put it in there for now.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. Now the question is, do I buy a different... Yeah, I need like a 2060 or something for that system. Yeah, that computer's kind of unbalanced, and I need to figure out a card to put in it. I bought these 1060s when we were still struggling to find graphics cards, and they have not been good value purchases in retrospect, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Mike Ladd doesn't turn off his PCs, his monitors go to sleep. Yeah, I turn off my PC just because I can. I don't need to leave my PC on. So, you know, and it starts up in 10 seconds, so I like to turn it off just because it doesn't need to be left on, basically.
Yeah, I've started turning mine off now just because I'm trying to create an extreme contrast between, like, one billing period and another billing period on the electricity bill.
Oh, right, yeah.
And just see if I can actually quantify, like, computer usage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
In amongst the noise of a house.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, with all the talk of the rising energy costs and stuff like that, I have been thinking, what can I do to save power? But the problem is a lot of the recommendations to save power. It's just like, well, yes, technically that saves power. Is it actually going to make a macroscopic difference to your bill? Probably not in a lot of cases.
It's going to be. I think the majority of stuff is, you know, that you could do. Certainly, if you've got 3080 Ti's and 3090s and 90 Ti's and stuff, is reducing power targets on that ever so slightly.
Well, that's
so you can probably round off, you know, maybe 10% usage and lose 5% performance at most.
Yeah.
So kind of stuff like that.
I still haven't gotten around to actually measuring, because I undervolt my 3080, and I still haven't gotten around to measuring how much power it actually drops by being undervolted. Because I undervolt it just to lower the temperature a little bit. But I haven't actually checked to see if it meaningfully saves any electricity. Because, you know, like at full, it was looking for 300 watts. And I'm not sure if I think the undervolt in some applications was taking it down to sort of like 250 or so. Yeah. But also that wasn't a scientific test. That was just at a casual glance. You know, it might not have been at full tilt then, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, obviously, yeah, if you knock 50 or 60 watts out of your system and your system is running all day, it starts adding up, you know.
Absolutely.
Don't know. So, yeah. Do I really need a card? Why not use CPU graphics? I could get away with onboard graphics. I've got a card in there purely for aesthetics, which is why that 970 was a really good card to have in here, because it was just an old 970. Like, what else do you do with a 970 these days?
I absolutely boggled myself with with another computer.
Yeah.
Because I could have sworn I had an i3 of integrated graphics. Would have put money on it. And for some reason, the integrated graphics wasn't working this one time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what's going on? Why isn't it working? And I actually looked at my purchase history to see what I bought, and I bought an i3 without a...
Oh, you had an F SKU?
Yeah, I had an F SKU. But I'd been using integrated graphics for months.
So, yeah. So what was the answer?
What had been happening was the GPU in the primary slot had been passed through the motherboard.
Oh, I see. Oh, curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd managed to end up in some situation where the GPU in the primary slot had been passed through the motherboard. And I was like, oh, very well.
I didn't know you could do that.
No, neither did I. Well, I discovered it. And it was just like, oh.
I knew that if you had, let's say you had a monitor connected to the motherboard HDMI output, I knew you could have the game being rendered on the graphics card and then outputted on that, but I thought you needed a graphics adapter there to receive the picture and then display it, if you see what I mean. So
no, yeah. I missed. You have a graphics card that is rendering video.
Yeah.
And a display adapter on what?
So on the motherboard.
Yes.
So yeah, I thought you needed integrated graphics to actually get the picture from the graphics card and then output it over that HDMI port, because something's got to drive that HDMI port.
Yes.
So yeah, so presumably that gets done in the PCH instead.
I have no idea.
Yeah, because like the HDMI has to connect to something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, presumably then yeah, and I assumed it linked directly into the CPU.
Yeah.
By some means or other, but yeah.
Know. Unless just MSI did something really weird with that motherboard.
Yeah, maybe.
But yes, it was just the fact that I was troubleshooting it for a little while, trying to work out what the hell was going on and just why it wasn't working. But yeah, I don't know.
Very well.
You did it.
Dark Knight in. Hello. How you doing? Right. CPU fans are connected. The cooler is connected. That bottom fan needs to link up to something again. I think this is done, and I think I can close up.
Excellent.
Right. Turnit Gaming, thank you for the other £10 as well. You prefer to turn off your consoles and your other devices because you've got a mindset that tells me that even electronic devices are entitled to rest, because technically it's less wear and tear. That is also something that I don't know if that actually makes a meaningful difference or not. I have a similar mindset, is that I like to turn things off if they don't need to be on, because even if idling is very low power consumption and very low usage, that's still more usage and load than off. So if it doesn't need to be on, then turn it off, you know. So yeah, that's kind of my mindset as well. I don't think it actually makes much of a difference, but also I think it's also nice just to be, or if nothing else, I think it's good practice to be in the mindset of just switching stuff off when you're not using it, you know.
Yeah.
Because even if it doesn't actually make a meaningful difference, I think that's a healthy mindset. So,
also the case of obviously just the fact of restarting computers and electronic devices and stuff helps avoid random weirdness and stuff.
Yeah, that's another
reason. So if you do, if you do occasionally restart your computer and you do occasionally restart the router and you do occasionally restart the TV and things like that,
it's good for it. Yeah.
You just avoid that random situation where you're like, why does this device that is clearly connected to the network not see the other device that is clearly connected to the network and can see the other device?
Yeah, because I get this with customers with laptops, especially stuff like Apple, where they're complaining that they come in and they complain that the device is not it's going slowly and stuff like that. And you sort of take a look at it and I suddenly think, and I say to the customer, I say, when was the last time this thing got rebooted? And they're like, well, all the time, I turn it off all the time. And what they actually mean is they close the lid. And I'm like, well, no, when you close the lid, it goes to sleep. It doesn't turn it off. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And so there's lots of people. Oh yeah, wireless. There you go. There's lots of people whose laptops have just not been restarted for months or years, and yeah, it's obviously just giving it that reboot now and then. It just clears the memory, clears the junk, and also just triggers the computer just to do stuff like pending updates and things like that.
Yeah, it was something. It was
well, yeah. Actually, that's another thing. Everyone always complains about Windows Update randomly restarting their computer and stuff like that.
And I'm like, it has to flash a warning at you for like 30 days before it does that.
Yeah, and also
then it will show you a warning for like 24 hours saying the computer will be restarting.
Yeah, I never have this issue because I turn off my computer every night, and so whenever every night when I turn off my computer, now and then it'll say installing updates for 10 seconds and then turn off.
Yeah, it's like,
because I switch off my PC every single night, it just does the updates and turns off, and there's just no fuss and no drama.
Yeah, but like even when I wasn't restarting my computer because I was doing folding and stuff on it, and it would stay switched on for like a month, it still wouldn't forcibly restart me.
Yeah.
Even after a month of being powered on. So I'm like, so you must be sleeping this computer for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And not restarting it or shutting it down.
Yeah.
And it will have given you a notification. And it's just like, I don't know what you expect at this point.
Pretty much.
It's like, it's the thing that slightly annoys me about Chrome, is Chrome won't forcibly close itself and reopen. So you can end up 25 versions out of date on Chrome just because you don't close it.
Yeah, I mean, at least it does give you the traffic lights in the top right with the little update icon.
Sure, but it doesn't forcibly close and reopen.
No, even when it's onto red, yeah, you can sit on the red traffic light for indefinitely, and it will
Certainly, it seems, as far as I can tell.
And obviously, typical customer probably doesn't know what that red indicator means.
Yeah.
That a typical customer probably doesn't realize that red indicator means your browser is critically out of date and we are desperately trying to install an update, but you have not allowed us to. Oh, balls, those need to go around the back. I'm going to do this in situ.
Oh, boy. Please allow me to not to be a part of this scene.
It's okay. It's not that bad.
Oh, you mean you're going to take the back panel off? Oh, okay. I thought you were going to reach through and try and squeeze it in. And
No.
I was like, oh, this is an exercise in frustration.
This is more just annoying because it means I need to spend more time not looking at the camera. And obviously I would like to be addressing the people that we're doing this podcast with instead of looking at the wall and gesturing toward the computer. So
it could be worse. You could be using a condenser microphone mounted at the front of the bench.
Yes.
And talking into a soundproof wall. Well, a sound deadened wall.
Yeah.
Just be like, can you hear me? I was born in the darkness.
I get this sometimes when I'm talking to customers on the phone and I'm walking around. I come over and I lean against this wall. And if I come over and I just lean right into this wall, suddenly everything goes very soft and lovely. And I'm just like, this makes me feel slightly calmer. Just leaning against the, I'm not even joking.
Sorry, I thought you were saying you came over to this wall and you go, now, if you just click on the start menu for me.
Can you guys actually hear that if we lean against that wall? Does it actually make a difference? Or like you hear it in your ears, but I don't know if the microphone makes a difference.
I've no idea, given how much it's already pointing into my chest.
Yeah.
But apparently, yes, people can hear it.
Delightful.
The complaints wall. Yes, the complaints wall. Oh, fabulous.
Are you implying that I've received so many complaints that I need a wall for them?
Absolutely. But no, I wouldn't. Never mind. So anyway, moving on. Hi, how are you guys doing?
All right.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se. What did you miss? Are we drunk yet? I will have you know we have never been drunk on stream. That would be utterly unprofessional. And this is a professional production
Absolutely.
of the highest quality and standing.
Absolutely. We had a review offer today, I'll have you know, or at some point there was one in the inbox.
Did they specifically say for the live stream?
It was sent to Adam and IT too.
Hey!
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't have offered it for the podcast. So to add context, I was looking through the emails, and there was an offer from Tenor, who make microphones, among other things. We've had an offer. They were the same people that are just like, we offer you this, we expect you to tell us and they were the people I was just like, oh, because they made all these demands in the email of expectations, and like, you will talk about this, you will say it does this, that, and the other. I'm like, I don't have to say jack, my son. You know,
I still think you should have sent that. You should have just replied to our email saying, if you wish to send us a free sample, it shall be reviewed in accordance with our review terms.
Yeah. At any rate, yeah, I never replied to it, but at any rate, it was the same people. But this time they've just sent, would you like to sample our podcasting microphone, hit an Amazon link kind of thing. So basically, I replied to it, and it was addressed to Adam and IT2, this channel, the podcast channel. So obviously, I'm just like, oh, that's interesting, because they're basically wanting it, they're selling a podcasting microphone, and this is a podcast. That's why they're targeting this. And so basically, we had a conversation. We said, well, what if we did unboxing stuff on the podcast? Like we say, well, so it's kind of like a review, but we're basically just doing no script, one-shot, unbox and first impressions as part of the show. We say, yeah, so-and-so sent in this microphone. We're going to plug it in and see if it's any good.
And I think the important thing will be for us to make sure that we're being clear that it is not a review.
Yeah.
It is not.
It's an unboxing and first impressions.
Yeah.
And if we have a good first impression, we'll do an actual review on the main channel.
Yeah. But also a case of us looking at it positively and going, oh yeah, this seems quite good, still isn't a review.
Yeah.
We haven't spent any more time with it than the time you are seeing us looking at it going, oh, this seems quite good.
Yeah.
So whilst it might be an indication of a purchase that you could make that wouldn't be a waste of money, it certainly isn't a solid review. It hasn't been, it would not have been stringently tested compared with its peers.
We need to figure out the wording for that, just so when we're responding to emails and when we're telling people what it is, we've got a nicely pre-worded in nice, clear terms, bottled catchphrase that we can say, this is what this is. It is not a review, it is a XYZ.
It is a battle cop. It is a battle cop.
Yes. Cool. It starts and it runs still. There we go. Okay, we've successfully... What's the timer on now? In an hour and 37 minutes, I've fitted an AIO. Did it. However, I prefer that. That looks so much cleaner in there now. Yeah, I'm kind of sad that the WindForce graphics card doesn't fit in there. I might actually modify it because I don't really want to leave a 1060 in this machine. It's wild overkill for the purpose of this machine. But then on the other hand, a 1060 matches the 8600K that's in there. So arguably, I'm matching together an appropriate CPU and graphics card, even if it's not actually being used. Don't know.
It's still the fact of you don't need a GPU in there, so you could just sell it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if the opportunity came, I should sell the 1060s. I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
plus all the other computers and so on.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So does anyone want to buy some computers?
All right.
£1 very, very good.
Cool. Sounds like a good idea. You can test whatever throughout the stream. Yeah, exactly that. It would be just, we'd just be chatting about it because while we unbox it, we can say, oh, this is like the XYZ, and we can bounce off of each other. And if it seems to be a good product, then we can be like, yeah, this seems pretty good. We'll actually do a good review on this. And like the other thing that I like is that this will catch the bad stuff because now and then I do accept for review, and I've got a couple of items on the shelf that I haven't gotten around to doing a review of, where I've accepted a review for a product, they've sent it in, and I've just sort of looked at it and been like, that's pretty crap if I'm honest.
Yeah.
What now? Now I've got to make a bad review of this. And it's not that I have a problem with that, but I have no motivation to make a video about a product that I don't care about. That's the issue for me. It's not that I'm scared to do a bad review. I just don't want to make a video about a product I don't care about. I've got better things to do. I'd rather make a video about something that I do like and I am passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whereas this will be a really good way of catching those products where we can say to, for if I get a review offer for something where I'm just like, oh, I'm not sure about this, I can say, we'll stick it on the podcast and we might roast it, but if we like it, we'll make a good video about it. However, you'll at least get featured on the podcast for better or for worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Which arguably is also a more focused audience anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of a comment of, do you want 10,000 mostly not interested people?
Get an X machine. Yeah.
Or do you want 175 actually interested people?
Yeah,
sort of thing,
who took
or
the time out of their
300
day.
actually interested people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty crap, if I'm honest. Great title for a review series.
Oh no. Oh, yeah.
That does somewhat sound like a review series that would be chaired by Chris.
Possibly. I sometimes value Chris's opinion.
Wow.
Well, he doesn't like the 220T. And he thinks the Meshify C is really good. And it is good, but yeah. He doesn't like the 220T though, and that means that's a problem for me.
There's stuff everywhere.
You're everywhere.
Everything, everywhere.
All at once.
EE.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
EEE. Good. Speaking of the alcoholic, where is he?
I don't know. He's supposed to be here being a moderator. He didn't bloody show up. Jeez, just...
These free people.
What do I pay these people for?
Wait, what do I pay these people?
No, but for reals, the moderators are not required to be here all the time. You guys are very well behaved. We require very little moderation here. Just every now and then there's a spam bot that needs to be shot down. That's literally the main thing.
Every now and then there's some porn.
Yeah. We're not popular enough to get the haters in here. So...
It's okay.
Right. This case does look tiny compared to the Lianli, yeah, but it's significantly
is it
longer.
The 275R?
Yeah, this is a Corsair 275R airflow, because I think there's a 275R non-airflow. This has the controversial front panel on that everyone hates, but I think is quite funky.
Apparently we're not hateable. Oh. Clearly I need to find some spicy takes.
Time for hot takes. Right, so before...
So what's your favourite race? Mine's Spa-Francorchamps.
I was going to say, I prefer... I like touring cars myself. I was very quick to recover that situation. Right, anyway, we'll find another topic to talk about in a minute. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing with this first. This PC is on sale in front of house. I say it's on sale. I haven't advertised it as being on sale, nor do I tell people how much it costs. But it is for sale.
So what you're saying is you are the worst salesman.
Yes. I do zero marketing, and I'm just like, why haven't I sold these computers?
No one knows that they can buy this.
Yeah.
No one knows what the price is. Why haven't they bought
There's nothing
this?
in the front window that says I sell computers, and I don't tell people I sell computers. I tell people I do repairs and servicing. So I'll give you $1.50. How dare you?
I know. I can give a hot take that will get some hate.
All right, before we get onto this, but seriously, I'm putting more fans. Oh, not those fans specifically. I've got some RGB fans out the back. I think I'm going to grab them in. I'll go and find them in a sec. I'm putting more RGB fans in it to make it more RGB. That's sure to make it sell.
Still without a price tag.
Precisely. Anyway, Right. So continue with your hot takes. Now now I've told people what we're doing. We can carry on.
Oh, absolutely.
We can carry on with our hot and spicy banter.
Absolutely. The hot take. Cryptographic currencies are a good thing.
Is that just because the Ethereum finally merged?
Oh no, absolutely. Everything should be proof of work.
Okay, that's a hot take as well. I'm not sure if you're joking or not because you're smiling at me. All right.
It's not like we needed that 0.2% of world electricity production.
It
was only 0.2%.
I'm going to get these RGB fans while you elaborate. Please tell the people.
However, yes, in an entirely theoretical world, decentralized currency and cryptocurrencies and all of that stuff, good idea. The problem is it involves humans, and humans are a bad idea.
I mean, I don't think that's a hot take, that humans are a bad idea.
Therefore, we have non-decentralized currencies. We have centralized currencies. We have things that are regulated and have laws and so on, avoiding humans being terrible humans to other humans. But yes.
Are you going somewhere with this, or is this just a statement?
It is a statement. That was my statement.
Very well.
People are terrible. We're all terrible.
I've enjoyed this conversation in English. See you next week, everyone.
But no, a person is fine. People are terrible.
Yeah. I saw a clip the other day of a...
Oh God, are these new?
No, they're second hand. They're just in original boxing.
God for that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. No, there's no point in me putting 30 or 40 quid's worth of fans into this because it just requires me to increase the price by 30 or 40 quid. But these are second hand. I got them for super cheap, so I'm like, oh, in that case, I'll put them in this because this will put enough lighting in this to make this light up sort of as much as the Lianli does, and I think that will make it as attractive as the Lianli is. So yeah. Someone asked, what's the specs on this? This is a 5800X and a 6600 XT. And I know that's a slightly odd pairing, but bearing in mind this was built in the middle of the GPU crisis. So it was a matter of I put in what I could get.
Also, you got that 5800X for less than a 5600X.
Yes. I got this 5800X at the time when you could find them for like £280. And someone was losing money on them, but we don't know who. So yeah,
absolutely.
Pairing,
they don't know the price, therefore you're not increasing the price. You're just actually revealing it for the first time.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, I've got to sell it quick because the graphics card is it's valued at what I bought. Well, I mean, I got the graphics card for £380, which at the time was a bloody steal. However, that's about what a 6600 XT is worth at the moment, I think. So I need to actually get this sold, otherwise I'm going to start losing money on it.
Yeah.
At the moment, to be honest, I'd quite happily take cost price on this entire system just to get it gone. So yeah, because I've absorbed the quote unquote loss on it at this point.
What is the price that you're trying to sell it for?
I don't know, like 5800X, 6600 XT. I'm like, the number I've got in my head is like, I don't know, £1,200, £1,300, something like that. It's got a water cooler in it as well. You know, it's got a Corsair power supply. It's going to have it's got all Corsair RGB in it as well. Again, with the Corsair water cooler, it's a good system. As I say, I think the sum of its parts is probably £1,200, £1,300, something like that. In fact, I think the sum of its parts is about 1,200. I would say. So I kind of want 1,300 for it. But yeah, we'll see. Don't need that.
What is that? A cardboard box with an instruction manual in it for fans?
Yeah, at some point it probably would have had fan screws in there as well. Maybe.
Oh, okay. I was going to say also, why do I need an instruction manual for fans?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least it's all cardboard. Corsair are pretty good about. Well, certainly their fans don't contain a lot of plastic. I think the water coolers still come with everything in little plastic bags. But yeah.
The best I can give you is 35 quid in this half-eaten sandwich I found under the fridge.
No deal. No deal.
Would you like to call the banker?
I've never watched enough of Deal or No Deal to actually understand how that game works.
As far as I understand, the
All I
way
see is
it works,
people opening a box and then going yes or no. It's literally number wang as far as I'm concerned.
As far as I understand, you have a box, and there are a number of other people with boxes, and they have monetary amounts in.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is get them to open a box and reveal a blue number, because a blue number is a low value box. And you want them to have a low value box and you to have a high value box.
Okay.
Because if you open your box at the end of when you open whichever box you choose to open,
yeah,
that is the amount of money you get. And
okay.
you might win £1, a fiver, £10, or like £500,000.
Yeah.
And it's that distribution. But the thing that makes it not random chance is the fact that you can swap boxes.
Ah, interesting, yeah.
Or you can accept a deal from the banker. And the banker will obviously probably just give a geomean of the box of the values remaining, less something.
Yeah. So basically, you're guessing which box in the game has got the high value in, and you're bluffing to make people think that you have a good box.
No.
Or,
The only person playing the game is you.
Yeah.
No one else is playing the game.
Right.
You are the only player in this game.
But you have to decide whether to swap your box.
Yes, you are playing against not knowing what is in your box and attempting to get a better box.
Fair enough. Ehsan will give me 2,500 EGPs, which we learnt last week are not worth very much pounds.
I will accept your 2.5 million EGPs.
2,500, not 2.5 million.
I am changing the terms of this arrangement. Pray I do not alter them further. I don't know why that turned into a Bane voice. I didn't mean to make it into a Bane voice.
I loved him in Harry Potter.
Wait. Oh no, that would have dramatically changed the entire plot line. Oh no, Voldemort's back. Yeah, but so's Bane with a nuclear bomb. The only person who can stop him is Harry Potter with his 12-inch wand.
So what's going on in chat at the moment?
Do you accept rubles?
No, I do not.
Only if there are at least 9 digits in the number. Actually, preferably 13.
Let's see. Slap an Apple logo on it and sell it for 5k. Yeah.
The fractal. Oh.
Yeah. The fractal pop is really nice. I really want an excuse to buy one. For a build in here or just for something. I want to build in a fractal pop because I think that looks like a really cool case. But I don't have an excuse to buy one.
Well, if you advertise your computers for sale.
Yeah, maybe. As a special treat, maybe if I sell the products that I have in stock. Alright. Who tidied these cables out the way so they're now really difficult to take out?
Was it you?
It might have been. Where's that going? Oh, you're going down there. Okay, that's fine. Are these 4-pinners? They are, that's nice. Yeah, I'm just trying to decide. I've got 3 of these, and these are, I think, are these? Yeah, these are light loops. So they've got the inner LEDs and the outer ring of LEDs. The front has got SPs on, which just have the inner LEDs. So what would I do with these? I was thinking of going top and back, but I'm wondering, I might be better off putting 2 of these at the front so you can see the light loops on them, and then moving the SPs up the top. Put 2 of the SPs up the top and put the light loops 2 at the front and 1 at the back, because those are the ones you can actually see, because you won't see the ones at the top. They're just providing wash light into the case.
Will there be a difference with them going on an CLLC?
No meaningful difference, no.
Very well.
Yeah. Corsair fans are kind of Corsair fans are weird because according to their spec, they're good at airflow and static pressure. However, like I'm still waiting for heckin' Gamers Nexus to ramp up their fan tests because Corsair fans seem to just have impossible specs compared to everyone else. And I don't know if they're either really good fans or if they're just fibbing. I can't believe they're fibbing, but Corsair's fans, their paper specs just seem to obliterate everyone else's. And I don't know what to make of that. The SP fans, yeah, they are static pressure, but if we look at the blade profile, we'll find that they're awfully similar to these. We'll take one out and we'll have a look, because what else are we going to do on this show? So yeah, we're coming up to the 2 hour.
Shill cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. I'm going to say it. So the Ethereum merge happened, and Ethereum has finally moved to proof of stake, not proof of work, very conveniently after mining is no longer profitable. I'm not saying they waited until they stopped making a crap ton of money on mining and then merged, but I reckon they waited until they stopped making all that money on mining and then decided to merge.
But also, if they were in control of the thingy, they could make lots of money off of it either way. Because if you make the currency and the currency's worth something...
I suppose they're making money on gas fees, aren't they?
You can just make more coin.
Yeah.
And give it to yourself.
Yeah, but then they want everyone to get in on the grift. And if people think they're making money through mining... Ugh.
But if people think they're going to make money through proof of stake, they're still going to think they're making money. So I don't see what difference it makes. Unless the Ethereum people actually had lots and lots of shares in Nvidia.
Don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm attempting to understand the actual mechanism of your theory. The mechanism of their deceit.
Yeah. It seems
how it actually benefits them.
Yeah. I mean,
unless they were receiving payoffs from Nvidia. Is that where you're going?
No. I mean, at the end of the day, my observation is that during the height of the crypto hysteria, everyone was just like, it's really bad for the environment and stuff like that. And that was a very valid criticism of cryptocurrency, is that it's bad for the environment because everyone is using a crap ton of electricity to mine it. And the vast majority of that is waste. However, the counter argument from crypto bros was always, we're moving to proof of stake in the next few weeks or in a month or two, and they were saying that for years. The merge was always about to happen, and conveniently, it happened after the mining craze has stopped being profitable. That's the observation. Maybe it's nothing. That's just what I've observed.
Okay.
And you got distracted by something else that was probably more interesting.
I completely misread the label and thought it said Wyoming, Netherlands. It's like, but Wyoming isn't in the Netherlands. But yes, I think it's a case that I can't see how they benefit, how they make more money by waiting. For instance, I don't see why now makes them more money than a month ago when it was already low value.
Maybe they pulled the trigger a month ago and it takes that long to actually do it. I don't know. I've got to admit, I'm talking out my arse and I'm speculating wildly. So that might be a reason for me to just shut up.
If that makes sense, I cannot see a mechanism by which the man in charge of Ethereum benefits more by the change happening now than it happening a week ago or 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
After it's already reduced in value.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Unless it's being used as, a mechanism of a pump in the sense of, look, we're a much higher value coin now because.
Yeah.
but I don't know. But it was English. It was also a case that the change happened after after the coin reached a predetermined difficulty.
Oh, interesting.
So it was kind of a case of
they were possibly waiting for an arbitrary number anyway, and they just hit that arbitrary number.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if that arbitrary difficulty had been hit 3 months ago, it might have happened 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps, but I am operating at the edge of my knowledge because I don't actually know much about these things.
True.
Because the one time I looked at it, I just kind of went, why is this so difficult? Why is this almost intentionally engineered in a fashion where those who are not explicitly in the know will be disadvantaged? Oh, wait, it's a pyramid scheme.
Yes. Anyone would think that was on purpose.
But yes, mining card, buy or miss. Depends on whether you're buying it for mining or not. Now is not a good time to buy cards for mining. If you're talking about X mining cards being sold and you're going to use them as a gamer, I don't see why not.
I was going to say, the consensus seems to be they're fine, doesn't
I
it?
have yet to see anyone provide any actual evidence that buying a mining card is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I mean actual evidence, data, facts, statistics. Not just, my mate bought one and it failed within 2 months.
Yeah.
Great.
Certainly
I bought a second-hand GPU before the mining craze and it died within a couple of months.
Yeah, I was going to say, buying an X mining card seems to be no more a risk than any other second-hand graphics card. You know, there's always going to be a risk that you're going to get a lemon. But by the same token, the 1070 I've got in the YouTube rig, that was my main use. When did I get that 1070? I've owned that 1070 for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
I bought that second-hand.
Yeah, you bought that like just before the 20 series came out, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
I think so. Or just around the launch of the 20 series.
It wasn't long after I got my 8600K because I originally built the 8600K with my 960 in it. And obviously, as soon as I built that, I was like, I need a new graphics card. So, and that was 2018. So
did you put the 960 into an FX machine?
I had the 960 in an FX, yeah. Okay. And then I transferred it to the 8600K.
Oh, after upgrading from a 280X.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had it since about 2018, I think, and it was secondhand at the time, and it's been a trooper, despite the fact that it has a busted component that's blown up on it.
Yeah.
You know, so now and then you'll buy a secondhand graphics card, you'll never have a peep out of it. It'll be fine its whole life. And like the 280X, I bought that secondhand as well, and that was a trooper.
Oh yeah, the first graphics card you bought new ever was the 3070, wasn't it? For your own computer.
I've bought new graphics cards in the past, but that was the first brand new one I've bought in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the 3070 was the first brand new graphics card I'd had in a very, very long time. I've always bought secondhand graphics cards, just because, and so that's the thing, is you can buy secondhand cards again and again and get lucky, but obviously, as with any secondhand card, now and then you're going to get a lemon. Now and then you'll buy a secondhand car and you'll get a lemon. There's always an inherent risk. So, but it seems to be there's no evidence that mining increases the risk of a bad card.
Yeah, I mean the great example is the 3090. We replaced the thermal pads on that and got worse temperatures. So the person who had it before had replaced the thermal pads, has gone through it and repadded it and cleaned it up and so on.
And actually taken care of it.
Yeah. And it's a case of certainly if someone has more than 4 or 5 cards for mining in, I'd almost be certain that they're going to be doing that. They're going to have...
It's in their interest to look after their equipment so it doesn't fail.
Yeah, and it's also in their interest to lower temperatures, to lower voltages, because it reduces power usage. So it means their profitability is higher. So certainly someone who's doing it somewhat seriously is probably a better person to buy off than the average gamer. Because based off of the average customer for computers, the average gamer is not going to be much above that.
Yeah.
It's thundering.
I like it how in one video where there was a lot of noise coming from upstairs, I said to the camera, I was like, what do you think they're doing up there? Mention it in the comments below. And everyone was just like, moving dead bodies. Thanks. Yeah. Turnip Gaming, thank you for the tenor again. Greatly appreciated, my dude. Thank you. Do you two think that crossplay enabled games should have been introduced earlier than it did? And do you think it's nice to play games with friends on different platforms? Microsoft have been driving crossplay really. I think
the only company that is against crossplay is Nintendo.
Didn't Sony come kicking and screaming though?
Sony said, "If you develop it, we'll approve it."
Oh, fair enough.
Was the summary of interviews that I saw. Was, if you build it and you're paying for it, sure thing.
Okay, yeah.
You can have it.
Yeah.
Nintendo said no. Yeah. Go away. Do not ask again.
Nintendo's gonna Nintendo.
Yeah. Do not ask again. Do not attempt to contact us again. Goodbye.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Certainly, Microsoft seem to have been doing all of the heavy lifting with it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's hats off to Microsoft for that. Like, Microsoft have done a lot of terrible things in their time. They're arguably Microsoft is arguably the daddy of the microtransaction. We can lay that squarely at their feet. I can't. My source is a Jim Sterling video.
Oh, yeah.
So, can't remember which game it was, but Microsoft basically invented the microtransaction. So thanks, Microsoft. However, they have been doing all of their heavy lifting for crossplay, and I think it's great because, at the end of the day, in my opinion, exclusives are bad. We should be buying a product because it's a good product, not because it has the games that we want on it.
Hi, Nintendo Switch.
Exactly. I should not have to buy a Nintendo Switch just because I want to play Zelda. I should buy a Nintendo Switch because it offers a feature set that is useful to me. And, obviously the Steam Deck is now shaking up the portable market, but before the Steam Deck, the Switch, if you wanted a portable console, was the one to get, arguably because of a lack of competition.
Because no one else really saw it as a value proposition.
Well, that's the question. Have Nintendo sold so many Switches because of their exclusive games, or because people actually want a portable handheld? However, that's a different conversation. But suffice to say, exclusives are bad, and Microsoft's constant driving of crossplay is driving us toward a situation where there are less exclusives, and it doesn't matter what you have, you can still play the same games and you can play with your mates, and that's really good. For example, we get, to a certain extent, we get this a lot. I play with friends. I play Fall Guys and Rocket League with friends on a regular basis at the moment, and half of them have got those games on Epic, and half of them have got it on Steam, and we can play together because there's crossplay. So it's really good. It doesn't, when someone's just like, "Oh, I don't have it on Steam," I'm like, "That's fine. You can still play with us because crossplay," and it's awesome. So obviously, like for Xbox to PlayStation and stuff like that, if your mate Billy has an Xbox and you're a PlayStation kid, it's cool. You can still play together. Everyone wins.
Yeah.
And if Sony is going, well, we're selling less PlayStations because people can still buy an Xbox and play with their friends, well, it sounds like you're the bad guy if you're forcing someone to buy a PlayStation in order to be able to play with their mates. That's a bad reason to buy your console. You should be selling your console because it's a really good console and it does better graphics and is quieter and has better accessories available for it or something like that. The PlayStation 5 has got that zero loading. It's got what's it called again? The storage system, instant access or something, where the PS5 can have no loading screens. That is,
I see. Yeah.
That is a reason to buy a PS5. Even though there's hardly any games that use it, but if more games actually use that, that's why you get a PS5, because no load screens. You shouldn't have to buy a PS5 just because you want to play God of War.
Yeah, absolutely. But also a case of, given the fact of you're saying about no loading times to people who are happy with PlayStation 4 loading times of 2.5 minutes.
True, but on principle.
It's
yeah, perhaps that's the wrong. Yeah, well, in which case, yeah.
Look at this. It plays at 60 FPS.
Yeah.
A human eye can only see 24 FPS. Thanks, console gamers.
In that case, Sony need to do a better job at telling people why they want better load times. Well, that's the problem.
But then that means they're telling people that their previous product was bad.
Yeah. Well, maybe
for using a 5400 RPM laptop hard drive.
Maybe it's time to turn around and say, look, guys, the old consoles are very old, and we have better technology. We can now do some stuff that is really good for a comparable amount of money. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, the new thing is always better than the old thing. That doesn't mean the old thing was terrible. It just means that was the best they could do at the time. Because at the end of the day, like when you look at when those consoles came out, consoles have always been bad versus PCs. This generation is a different case because of various reasons. However, at the end of the day, when the Xbox One and the PS4 first came out, you know, you still couldn't build a better PC for less money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I tried. You know, you could build something that was approximately equivalent for the same money, but it wouldn't have been in a nice compact box that you just plug in a TV and just start playing. You know, it was in a custom build. You know, so yeah. I think I got off topic, but yeah, crossplay is good, and I think it's high time we have it. And I'm grateful that Microsoft have been driving crossplay and multi-platform and buy it on one store and you have it on the Xbox and on the PC and everywhere. I think that's great, and it's high time we have that.
I think the fact that there is not crossplay between Steam and Windows Store games is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's my one beef. The way that Microsoft Store games work is bullshit. Is crap. Like the way that the Windows Store downloads and stores games is terrible. The download manager is bad. The way it stores the game is bad, and the fact that you can't launch them from another launcher like Steam is bad. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't know if it's fair to say that I should be able to buy a product on the Windows Store and expect to be able to download it in Steam. Like, that seems an unreasonable ask. It seems unreasonable to say, I want to buy it from your store, but import it into a third-party ecosystem. I'm not sure that that's a reasonable thing to ask for. Because that's what you're asking for if you want to buy something on Microsoft and play it in Steam.
No. Play with
crossplay,
Steam.
yeah.
As in being able to play DRG with people who have it in the Windows Store if I launch the Steam version.
Yeah.
Or if I launch the Windows version, I want to be able to play with the Steam version.
Yeah, can anyone think of a game that has crossplay between the Windows App Store and Steam?
I mean, like Forza does.
Does Forza have it? Yeah.
Yeah, because there is only one instance. There is just the Forza instance.
Okay, but if you buy Forza on Steam, is it downloading the Windows App Store version?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same as like Flight Simulator.
Yeah, because Flight Simulator does some real nonsense along those lines. I'm not 100%. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, a couple of people are saying Forza, yeah. And apparently FS, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
But Flight Sim doesn't explicitly count just because it's downloading the Microsoft Store version, effectively.
Yeah.
But I can understand how they're able to do that, because on Steam, all you are buying is a launcher.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's almost tricky because with PC gaming, like, we religiously defend a former monopoly that is Steam. Like, we all say, oh, Steam is good and we don't like the Epic Store. Now, don't get me wrong, the Epic Store is far from perfect. However, Steam was more or less a monopoly, yet everyone defends it to the bitter end.
Because as a product, it's a better product.
Yeah. So does that justify being a monopoly if it's good?
I
don't know what point I'm trying to make. I'm just asking questions.
By the fact that the Epic Store has to give away free games to get people to even launch their store, demonstrates their product is not good. The fact that they have to give people free stuff to get them to even launch it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what point there is particularly beyond that, other than the fact that, like, also the fact that the Epic Store, you can't buy more than one game at a time.
Yeah, see, that's a really low-hanging fruit, but then I've never bought more than one game at a time anyway.
But it's also the case of, if I want to buy a game, if I want to buy a game with DLC, I can't buy the DLC at the same time.
Oh, no. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's yeah, okay, fair enough, yeah.
Or I want to buy a pack of 3 games, except I can't because packs of 3 games don't exist.
Yeah, okay, yep. Yeah.
I want to buy the equivalent of the definitive edition that's on Steam, where it's got 210 games in it.
Yeah.
I can't. And whilst, sure, that's an incredible niche, it's also kind of a case of, it's just like, why are you making it difficult for me to give you more money? Yeah. The amount of money that Epic have, or at least infers to have by its practices, does me a concern.
Yeah.
Just because if they have the money to give away all of these games and to pay developers for hours played in these free games and stuff like that, where is that money coming from? Because it sure as hell isn't coming from store purchases, because they take a smaller cut than every other store.
Tencent.
But yeah, exactly. That's kind of my point.
Yeah. The Forza Horizon developers control the crossplay part of FH5 Steam Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, that Forza has got that and stuff. Yeah.
Is it 10 games?
Yeah.
I can't remember who the hell makes Forza and Motorsport by Horizon and Motorsport.
Playground.
Oh, Playground games.
Yeah.
And something. They are. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the reason for the lack of
good.
crossplay because like Deep Rock Galactic not having crossplay between Windows App Store and Steam is kind of a bummer.
Probably because they don't have their own multiplayer. They use Steam's multiplayer and they use Xbox's multiplayer.
Yeah. Whereas everyone else is running their own servers.
Because to be able to have crossplay, you'd need to be able to run your own servers. It's why, like, Killing Floor 2, when it appeared on Epic, didn't have a problem with crossplay, other than needing to build a new voice system, because its voice system was hosted on Steam's voice system.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why they released that new one.
Yeah.
And then a couple of months later announced, by the way, we're on Epic.
Yeah. However, all the games were being run on their own servers already.
They were running dedicated servers, and also provided you with the ability to host your own server.
Yep. Good guy, Tripwire.
Imagine being able to host your own multiplayer servers in 2022, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the thing that completely killed the Call of Duty series for me. The lack of dedicated servers on PC. It's like Call of Duty 4 has dedicated servers. Do you know what people are still playing? Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
Do you know what Modern Warfare 2 and 3 don't have dedicated servers? Do you know what people aren't playing? Modern Warfare 2 and 3.
Yep. Bring back dedicated... I don't understand. I mean, well, yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't release a thing that allows people to run a dedicated server.
See, I was about to ask the same question, but you know what the answer to that is? So you'll buy the new one when it comes out.
Sure, but then you just disable the dedicated server a year after the new one comes out. It reduces your operating costs.
Yeah, the problem though there is if you disable the dedicated server, that's a really transparent way of saying we're killing the game when we don't have to. Whereas at the moment, by not releasing the dedicated server in the first place, people don't notice that they're killing their game, so you buy the new one.
So, you're still going to buy the new one.
Yeah, well, I suppose they could just mask off about it, yeah. They could just say, yeah, we're not even pretending. We're killing the game because we want to focus on the new one, even though they don't even run the servers for it anymore because it's all dedicated.
Yeah.
You're killing the game when the patches stop coming out. Yeah, well, it depends if people are still finding exploits, I guess. Like,
well, I mean, it's like again, my comment on Call of Duty 4. The last patch for that was version 1.7. It's been on 1.7 for years, probably 10 years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. On a similar note, I want to give kudos to Capcom because
possibly the first time someone's ever said that.
I know, right? Because the multiplayer for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 went offline months ago because some zero day was found in it that allowed for remote code. Remote code execution was found in it. So that was a matter of they had to disable multiplayer because RCE is a critical vulnerability that would allow someone to take over your entire computer. And that's like sort of, you can't allow that. I've put these ML fans at the front and I'm going to put the rest along the top and back. They finally patched it. DS3 multiplayer is back up. All this time, after Elden Ring came out and stuff like that, I was like, they're never going to patch DS3. They haven't patched out all of the bugs in that for years. Why are they going to bother doing it now? It's just going to be left offline for indefinitely now.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to move on to thing. But credit where it's due, they fixed it. And, I don't even know if anyone's still playing Dark Souls 3 online. I'm moving on to Elden Ring now. Quick plug, I'm playing Elden Ring on Twitch tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time on my Twitch channel. So, I'm probably not coming back to Dark Souls 3 at this point. But kudos for them for actually patching it after all this time. I don't think anyone would have been surprised if they'd left it to rot.
That was probably From Software as opposed to Capcom. Just because From Software are the actual developer.
Yes, that's a good point, actually. Yeah,
it'll be the first thing close to technically competent they've ever done.
I believe Capcom deal with all of the account stuff, though.
Oh, interesting.
Don't quote me on that. I think Capcom handle all of the account side of it.
Oh, interesting. Apparently a lot of people are still playing Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I suppose it wouldn't surprise... I mean, I haven't played enough Elden Ring yet to know, but then a lot of people will know Dark Souls 3 like the back of their hand. If someone was just like, do you want to co-op through Dark Souls 3 with me tomorrow? I'd be like, hell yeah. Because I love Dark Souls 3. I've got 800 hours in that game,
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how.
I know.
I probably left it running during the day while browsing the internet a few times, but I've got hundreds of hours in that game, But yeah,
I worked it out, and I bought F121 in September last year, and I looked at my hours played, and I have played more than 10 consecutive days since September last year. I was like, yes.
Put that low. Yeah, it adds up if you stay in it.
I was like, oh yes, 10 full days in less than a year.
Run says, is the QL the same as the LL, just with rings on both sides? Yes, that's correct. The light loop had a ring on the front, and then they brought out the QL, which is the quad light loops. So being sort of inner ring, outer ring on both sides. And the advantage of the QL is because you've got rings on both sides, the back of the fan looks pretty. And the reason why that's relevant is if you've got the fans mounted on the inside, if you've got fans on the back of your radiator here drawing into the case, you're looking at the back of the fans. And the back of most fans is very ugly. And the point of the QLs is that they're pretty on the back and on the front. So yeah, the QLs are arguably very overkill. However, if you've got a situation, there are plenty of instances where you need the back of the fan to look nice, and that's what the QLs are for. So yeah. The Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Nethasem. Could you bash that into chat for me? Caradog, be a darling and pimp my Twitch channel for me, please.
That.
Get out of the... Get up. Why don't you put on a little makeup? Twitch.tv/Nethasem. There we go. That's the Twitch channel. You dick.
See, at least one person thought it was funny. Therefore, I have brought a little joy to the world.
For the first time ever.
Wow.
Right, I need some. I'm going to use some of these fan screws that are over here. That'll do. Are those mangled? That one's kind of mangled. We're not using that one. Where were we? I saw another chat. Oh yeah. No, I'm not a Dota player. Not at all. I thought I saw another question, but it's.
I think I've played like 20 hours of Dota, and and I'm at the point where I'm just like, I still don't entirely understand.
I kind of wanted to get into a what are they
MOBA.
called? MOBA, yeah. I kind of wanted to get into a MOBA, but that was mainly out of FOMO. Everyone was into them, and I wanted to learn League of Legends or Dota just so I could play League of Legends or Dota with people. But yeah, I couldn't get into it. I kind of enjoy watching other people play them. Like now and then, I've got friends who play it, and when they're playing a MOBA, I enjoy watching them play. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I see what the objective is. I see what you're doing. I was kind of interested in the Pokemon one. Pokemon, what's the Pokemon one called again? Pokemon have got a MOBA. And Pokemon Unite. Yeah. I thought Pokemon Unite looked kind of interesting, but it was horridly pay to win. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. What's the big cable coming out the back of the Latitude? It's a HDMI cable. So the laptop screen is mirrored onto this screen. So Caradog and I can both see chat, basically. So yeah, which is actually a cool layout because I knew we were going to have a computer in the middle, so we wouldn't put the laptop in the middle. So yeah, we're mirroring it onto two screens. What were you about to say? Or
yes, about the Pokemon.
Yes.
Apparently, of the games division for Pokemon, the only profitable part of it for 2019 and 2020, for 2020 and 2021 was Pokemon Go. Even though they launched
Fire Game Freak.
They launched...
Get rid of Game Freak.
Yeah, they launched 2 mainline games on the Switch and lost money on them.
It's time to get rid of Game Freak. Shock horror, could it possibly be that they're not actually very good at making Pokemon games? It's time.
No.
When was the last good Pokemon?
It could be that they're just not good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, the fact of, like, the screenshots of Arceus compared with, like, frickin' Morrowind from 20 years ago. It's like, oh, look, Morrowind looks better. It's 20 years old.
Yeah. Like, Arceus is struggling to match Breath of the Wild, however many years after Breath of the Wild came out.
Yeah.
You know, I know that the Switch isn't very fast. I know you don't have a lot of horsepower to work with. But, just, yeah.
Other people are doing a better job.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, Monster Hunter Rise. Like, don't get me wrong. When Monster Hunter Rise came out, I'm just like, cool, you can tell that this is on a Switch, you know, compared to Monster Hunter World. You know, 30 FPS and, like, behind the plants, you can see the PS1 landscape kind of thing. But they did a bloody good job of hiding it, you know, by virtue of the fact that you could have, like 4 monsters and 4 players in a fight at the same time, and it was an enormous spectacle, you know, and that was being done on a Switch.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got Pokemon coming in, and they're still making 8-bit noises. And it's like, come on, guys. It's not the 90s anymore. Give us the same... Actually give the monsters the same voice lines that they have in the anime. You know, let Geodude come up and go, Geodude, kind of thing. He doesn't have to go, anymore. He can go, Geodude. Just let him say Geodude, man. I don't even like Pokemon, and I'm passionate. Well, I do like Pokemon. I just don't play Pokemon. But yeah.
The only good generation was the first generation.
Game Freak are not good at making video games. There's a hot take.
Is it though? I feel like it's lukewarm at best.
Yeah. I'm not the first person to say it. Yeah. Everyone loves Game Freak, but they only love Game Freak because they make Pokemon. And so now people are having to wake up to the idea that maybe Game Freak aren't actually very good at making Pokemon. Don't know if they've made anything else, so don't know if they're good at anything else.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Apparently it's an American thing for them, like, saying their name. And
they just make noises in Japan.
Make noises.
Fair enough. Like, if that's the case, then I'll concede that point, you know. Yeah. I mean, what noises do they make in the Japanese version, then?
8-bit screeching noises,
I was going to say,
clearly.
I'd assume they don't make 8-bit screeching noises, but, you know, if they actually... Yeah. I'd assume that they just make Japanese noises, or whatever, you know. That came out wrong.
Oni-chan!
So what's going on in chat at the moment?
Oh, kawaii desu ne.
Let's see. Why are Ninja batteries bad? They're not. I just had one bad one. Let's see. Nintendo need to make a console with actual horsepower. Yes and no. I mean, Nintendo.
I mean, they really do. They need to. Well, or at the very least, it doesn't need to have high horsepower. It just needs to have modern APIs.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like, that's the thing is, for a long time, Nintendo have played this game where they don't need to have a lot of horsepower because it's always been about the gameplay per se. Like, it's been a long time since Nintendo. I mean, I don't think Nintendo haven't been competing for horsepower since the N64. You know, the GameCube was underpowered versus its competitors, and so was the Wii, so was the Wii U, and so on. That's not what Nintendo have been about for a long time. However, they do need. But the problem is it's like with the Switch. Like, everyone has always been saying when, you know, Switch Pro and stuff like that. You know. So what does the Switch run on again? Is it it's an IBM or is it?
It's the NVIDIA Tegra chipset.
Yeah, NVIDIA Tegra. That's it. Yeah. There's been a better NVIDIA Tegra out almost for as long as the Switch has existed. The hardware for a better Switch that would probably run the same software as the Switch has been around for as long as the Switch has.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a thing of if they. Well, yeah, that was
the newer Tegra. You could probably run Switch games natively on the new Tegra stuff.
Well, yeah, it's literally just the same thing, just slightly faster.
Yeah, that's it. So, the chip to make a Switch Pro has been around for years. The only reason why there's no Switch Pro is just purely because Nintendo decided not to make it.
Mm.
You know,
and it's kind of
that's why it frustrates me. It's not because it's difficult. It would be easy to make a Switch Pro, but they don't.
It surprised me that they didn't.
Yeah,
given
it's a no-brainer.
Just given the fact that there was a slightly higher performance version of the Tegra out before they released the Switch, kind of thing. So
but I can understand them not using the better Tegra when the Switch came out, because obviously it would have been in development for years before the new Tegra came out. So, you know, like, for example, you know, the new Mac Pro came out just as Threadrippers had already been released. And everyone was just like, oh, and it got whitewashed by the Threadripper. But that Mac Pro, that would have been in development for years before release. And they couldn't just decide to change to a different platform halfway through.
Yeah.
So it's the same with the Switch. You can't put, like, you know, 2 or 3 years of R&D for a new console. You can't throw all of that out just because a new chip came out at the last moment. So that wasn't surprising.
Understandable. Yeah, absolutely. However,
now 5 years on or so, they've had time to make a Switch Pro.
But when that new Tegra chip was as much of was the level of upgrading required to go from an i3 to an i7.
True. Yeah.
That's all it was. It was an in-socket replacement, effectively.
Yeah.
It just was more efficient. It just clocked better.
Yeah.
When the level of upgrade is better battery life, faster performance, it's a case of obstinance at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also the case of, as someone said in the chat, it's difficult to say, oh, Nintendo, you're doing it wrong, when they've sold 3 times as many consoles as Xbox and PlayStation 4 combined.
Yeah. However, the problem is that's not because yeah, this is the thing. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier on with exclusivity. It's a case of, are they selling them because it's a good device, or are they selling them because people want the games that are on it? And I think it's a little bit of both, because no one, the Switch's handheld functionality is a good appeal. Yeah. We've spoken before, like with the Steam Deck, there is a market for a decent handheld gaming console. Yeah. That obviously is not a glorified Game Boy, because the DS is a glorified Game Boy. We want something a bit more powerful than that. However, like, for example, at some point I want to pick up a second-hand Switch, not because I care about the portability of it, but because I want to be able to play Zelda games, and I can't be bothered to emulate, because emulating a Switch can be done, but is actually a hecking ball ache. Yeah. So I'm going to pick up a second-hand Switch at that point. So I'm going to end up buying a Switch, not because I think it's a good console. It's not a very good console, but purely because it has the games that I want on it. Yeah. And as I say, that pains me. I think that's a crap reason to buy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, how many people bought Switches for Breath of the Wild? A lot, I think, is the answer to that. So yeah. And yeah, I think, as Lead Farmer just said, more kid-friendly, more sales. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I just said it was a bad console. That was a bit harsh. It's a good console in certain ways. It certainly has lots of advantages. But
yeah,
Nintendo is not your friend, I think, is one of the points I'm trying to reiterate here. It always bears mention that Nintendo are one of the darlings of the gaming industry, yet they're actually a terrible company. And it's frustrating. It's okay to have Nintendo stuff, but more people need to understand that Nintendo isn't your friend.
Also, just the fact of the complete shit show of their online.
Yeah, exactly. Nintendo have nothing but contempt for their customers.
In Spanish, no entiendo. I don't understand. But yeah, it's...
Yeah.
I will probably never buy a Nintendo product, ever. I am completely the wrong category of person. But it's kind of a case of I look at all this stuff and just kind of go, wow, people buy this stuff?
Yeah, because the problem is that there are plenty of things that make people want it. I've got friends like Splatoon. Splatoon 3 is just... By the way, Sleepwalker, who was asking about Windows 12 and our thoughts on that, I'm going to get to that in a moment. I have spotted that and I want to talk about that, but we're just going to finish up on this. Yeah, like Splatoon 3 has just come out. Splatoon is a really good IP. It's one of Nintendo's newest IPs. It was really good to see them coming out with new content for the Switch. And I think Splatoon... Like, I'm not a Splatoon player, but it's a FPS game for kids kind of thing, and lets kids play an FPS style game without it having to be war simulator, blood and guts, battlefield kind of thing. And that's really good. Splatoon 3 is great, and I've got loads of adult friends who love Splatoon because it's good fun. It's good, wholesome fun. And so Nintendo have got a lot of good things going for them. And that's why people stand by them, because they're like, oh, but Splatoon is really good, and we really love Nintendo. We really love Zelda. And
we really love Nintendogs.
We really love Zelda. We really love Pokemon. We want there to be, like with Pokemon, we want there to be a good Pokemon. We keep buying the new Pokemon game because we're praying it's going to be good. It's like the Sonic fandom and their Stockholm syndrome, who keep buying new Sonic games that are just bad game after bad game because they love Sonic. Like, I love Sonic. I think it's great. I was a Sonic kid growing up. But man, all of the modern games are bad. And it pains us to say it, but it's the fact. We keep buying it because we want it to be good. We're like, please, we want it to be good. And so we stand by them. And because of that, Nintendo just takes advantage and just keeps taking advantage again and again. And people keep buying into it because they're just praying that it's going to get better. It's such a shame.
I'm sure this time it will be different. The new Sonic will be good.
Frontiers, man.
I haven't watched any of the stuff, but I've seen certain people slowly losing their mind.
I don't know, man. Any Sonic fans in here? What do you think? Is Frontiers going to be good? The previews were not good, but it kind of looks like it's going to come together at the last minute.
My comment is still the fact of I don't get why people keep buying the games.
Because we want them to be good.
So, if they're not good, don't buy them.
But they might be good.
That's what reviews are for.
Yes, that's true. I'm not buying Frontiers until I see a good review on it. However, I've got friends who I had this conversation with, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm going to buy it on release day, no matter what." And I'm like, "Really? Without it?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, I'll buy it anyway." And I'm like, "Okay."
Then we can no longer be friends.
Oof. The big oof.
How dare you pre-order games?
Yeah.
Although I was sorely tempted to pre-order Sins 2.
No, do not.
I was just like, "Ooh!" And I was just like...
Just because it's a game you love. Do not. Right. I think the rant has gone on long enough. Well,
so Sins 2.
Well, I was going to say, do we know anything about Windows 12 yet? I don't know if there's actually a conversation to be had on this. Sleepwalker asked earlier on, Microsoft said that 10 was going to be the last Windows, and then 11 came out, and now there's talk of 12. I don't know if you've seen anything on this.
I know nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I guess we'll have to make this one brief. I'm going to make my opinion brief on this. My opinion on that, Microsoft said Windows 10 would be the last Windows because of the build update system, and it was really good. The build update system for Windows 10 has been sensationally good and a mega success. And I dislike the fact that Windows 11 exists. It should have just been a facelift for Windows 10, in my opinion. However, the reason why it exists is that the OEMs have got to sell a new number. I think that's literally the cold hard truth, is that they wanted a new number. They couldn't, because for a long time I thought they just wanted to change the minimum requirements for Windows, and so they were releasing Windows 11 as an excuse to change the minimum requirements. But they've changed the minimum requirements on Windows 10 anyway, so they could have done that anytime they wanted.
But it does give a much cleaner breakpoint, and I think
Yeah.
that was necessary anyway.
Yeah. I think their mistake was that they didn't do subversions of Windows 10. We know there are subversions because there are build versions, like 21H2 is the current one. But that's not something that the consumer understands. Once again, I'm going to say what I say every time, is Microsoft, please copy Apple, because the macOS naming scheme works. You have macOS 10, and then it's been macOS 10 version 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, and so on. And that version number is something that people understand. People come in and they say, "Oh, I'm running 10.14." Or if failing that, because each version has a code name, Mojave, Catalina, Big Sur, Monterey.
How many people come in saying they want Mojave, though?
How
many people come in saying Mojave?
Mojave, yes. That was actually one person. I want macOS Mojave. No, they want Mojave. macOS Mojave. Mojave. It's a desert. Like, not in it's a big desert. Big.
I require the
Big.
macOS Sarah. And I require the Big Sarah upgrade.
Ready for the hood. So anyway, yeah. The macOS naming scheme works. It's really good. It's comprehensive, and customers understand it. They need to do something like that. They just need code names for the build numbers, in my opinion, and that would do them. Because also they could sell that as a breakpoint. That's what I think.
I think I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I think the Apple system is silly.
Yeah.
Only because calling it the operating system 10, 13. If they just called it macOS 13 now, then sure.
Actually, I don't think 10 is actually part of the official naming anymore. Can anyone confirm this? Is it still actually called Mac OS 10?
Mac OS Eldorado.
Is it actually still called Mac OS 10? I don't think it actually is.
Yeah.
I couldn't confirm though, because I don't actually care about macOS anymore. Basically, like when Monterey came out, I barely blinked.
Yeah, I'm pleased to see that in iOS 16 they have copied more of the Android features to make it a close to functional operating system.
Yes.
It's still the fact of the thing that it still amazes me is how awful text selection is on an iPhone. How impossible it is to edit a message in a clean, simple tap here, I'm editing here now. Not press and hold and slide around a bit and wiggle in a special direction. And oh yeah, also I'm going to do a special Apple flick for this.
Isn't that bad, is it? I haven't used an iPhone in a hot minute, so...
Do you know what I want to do when I'm editing a message? I want to tap just before the word I want to delete a letter out of, and I want to go delete and then send, because that's how it works on every other device.
Yeah,
but not iPhones.
Well, how do you edit text on an iPhone then?
Half the time you tap on it and it goes fuck you. You tap on it again, it goes fuck you again. You tap on it for a third time and then it selects the entire text and goes, would you like a dictionary definition?
And then Siri starts reading it out to you in full volume.
Yes, I would. Never mind.
Windows 12, the last OS ever. Yeah. Well, no, I think Microsoft is just going to go back to just doing. I think they're just going to go back to a 3-year release cycle at this point.
Last OS.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if Microsoft just take off the mask and just go onto a 3-year release cycle of a new version of Windows every 3 years, then fine. As long as they're consistent about it. I think that's what we're asking for, is just consistency. Yeah, if that's what's necessary, then fine. I think, to be honest, I have a suspicion that they're moving on to Windows 12 as quick as they can, because Microsoft Windows 11 is going to be cursed as the off one, because there's the running gag that every other version of Windows is crap, and Windows 11 is an other version.
Yeah, it's also a case of, because like the only hot take,
there are arguments against that. I'm not saying I believe in that, but
super hot take.
Yeah,
Vista was a good operating system. It got fucked by by software partners going lol. What do you mean we have to release drivers? Oh shit, it's launched. I guess we'll launch drivers a month after release.
Yeah, exactly that. And Windows 8, I mean, that's a rabbit hole in and of itself. Certainly as of 8.1, it was more or less fixed. I still don't like 8, but sure. However, yeah, at the very least, Windows 11 is an other version of Windows, so it's not going to take. And also, it's following on the coattails of 10. 10 is going to be the new Windows 7. It's going to be another version of Windows that just won't die, no matter how out of date it becomes. That's my prediction. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm forgetting where I'm going with half of this conversation, while I'm trying to actually get this computer built at the same time.
The RGB connector connects to the...
Yeah, sorry, I was just going, where the hell am I going to connect all of these fans to?
The RGB hub connects to the USB header.
Yeah, we've got 6 RGB fans in there, so that's 12 fan wires now.
The USB header connects to the PCH. Sorry, to the Super I/O.
Have I even...
Windows 7 was released when I was 4. Oh no. Do not. I remember the excitement around the Longhorn beta builds. Hurriedly downloading them, carrying them to school on a hard drive for another friend to burn them to DVDs.
I never saw the Longhorn betas at all. I saw the Windows 7 beta because it had the little lighthouse in the bottom right corner. I can't remember what it was for. I just remember it had a lighthouse.
Searchlight.
Yeah, was it called Searchlight?
Something like that.
Yeah, and it was just neat. I don't know. And I was kind of like, ooh, interesting, a new version of Windows. But yeah, I'm missing a fan wire. Oh, it's there already. It's already plumbed in. That's why. Okay, I'm nearly there.
Almost.
Almost. Almost. There we go. Windows 11 is okay, I think. Yeah, I've got no beef with Windows 11 at the moment. I've been dailying it on a couple of the shop computers, and yeah, I don't think there's any issues I have with it now. A lot of the issues that I've complained about in past videos, like with audio device switching and stuff like that, people pointed out, oh, you just do this and this, and when I saw those comments, went and tested it, I was like, oh yeah, oh okay, I see now, no problem.
My biggest problem is the fact that I can't drag a file to the taskbar to open another window.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes it completely unviable as an operating system to me.
Yeah, that's not a thing I ever do.
Because I do that all day, every day. I'm like, this is utterly unviable as an operating system because of that.
I mean, you could start dragging and then Alt-Tab into the app you want and then let go.
I could.
I know that's hassle.
Or I could use the feature that's in Windows 10.
Yeah.
And didn't need to be removed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like, this is the dilemma, because don't get me wrong, I agree. It's nonsense that we have that there is less functionality in 11 than there was in 10. But on the problem is that it's a case of Windows 11 is the new version of Windows. It's not going anywhere in a hurry, and there's no reason to believe that those features are coming back for Windows 12. So
then I will continue to use Windows 10.
You'll become one of those. Okay.
My other problem is the fact that just the right-click menu on files. It's kind of like,
yeah. I mean,
this is.
You can fix that with a registry hack, so that's not too bad.
Sure,
I know we shouldn't need to.
No. But it's just kind of a case where I'm just like, this feels clunky.
Yeah.
In a way that the Windows 10 or Windows 8 or Windows 7 ones never did.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh. I couldn't specifically tell you what feels clunky about it, because being able to go right-click new folder is still there. Being able to go right-click copy, right-click paste, still there.
Yeah. So
but
I guess
just something about it feels clunkier.
Yeah. So I guess the next question is then, if we know that Windows 12 is probably in development, are we saying, this is another fan splitter, by the way, just so I can plug the extra fans in. Are we just sort of saying that we're going to skip over 11 and see what 12 looks like when it comes out?
Depends if it has drag and drop on the taskbar.
Otherwise, you'll be 10 or die, son. And you'll be like, if I have to become one of those, then so be it.
Also, just I don't know. The sound settings last time I looked on Windows 11 seem to be basically non-functioning.
I find they're fine. If anything, I quite like them. There's like the sound settings have got all of the functionality that the Windows 10 settings have, and they are now the same or fewer clicks away. Like, one of my favorite parts about Windows 11 is on Windows 10, if you right-click on the volume button in the bottom right, and if you click Sound Mixer, it brings up the legacy Sound Mixer, which is garbage. It's awful. It's terrible.
Okay.
And I can write an essay as to why.
Okay.
However,
I've never used it.
Fair enough. Now on Windows 10, Windows 10 does have a modern sound mixer. You've got to drill through settings to get to it, and the modern sound mixer is very good. But the problem is if you right-click on the volume control and you click on sound mixer, you get the legacy mixer. On Windows 11, you right-click on the volume control and you click on mixer, you now get the modern mixer. Straight away, that is an incredible quality of life improvement. Just that alone is one of the reasons why I'm considering upgrading to 11 at home, just so I have quicker access to the modern mixer. Because the legacy mixer is... I'm not going to get into it, but the legacy mixer is genuinely awful.
I've literally never used it.
Yeah. So Duma has just asked, why is it terrible? It does what you need. So with the legacy mixer, you've got...
Oh, you're plugging those fans in.
No. We need to talk about the legacy sound mixer in Windows 10. So the legacy mixer, you open it up and you've got the various volume controls thing. So let's say you've got a noisy application. Let's say Chrome is too loud. So you pull Chrome down to 50%. Now, if you then pull down the main volume, it brings down Chrome proportionally to that.
Yes.
So you're like...
Which is what it should do.
Okay, fine. So you're like, okay, but now I want Chrome to be the same volume as everything else again. So you start pulling up Chrome, and you have to land it exactly on the main system volume. If you go one number too high, it nudges the main system volume up by 1, pulling everything else down. And the only way, and if you pull all of them down to 0 and then bring them up, they maintain those proportional values. The only way to reset a volume is to pull everything up to 100% and then bring the master volume down again. Which means in order to reset the volume, you have to set everything to maximum volume. And obviously, if you're on headphones, have a good time, because most people run their headphones at maybe 15 or 20%. It's difficult to explain it, but it's awful. Now, by comparison, the Windows 10, the modern volume mixer, you just have sliders and you just move them up and down. Nothing moves proportionally. That's it. There's no proportional values. It just moves up and down. That's it. If you want something louder, you make it louder. If you want it quieter, you make it quieter. So yeah.
I guess I just run everything at 100% volume.
On headphone. Oh, but then you've got a headphone amp and an audio thing and stuff like that. Though.
And I just change the main volume up and down.
Yeah. If you're a streamer, you care about these things. Or failing that, I now and then, like if I'm in, now and then you'll start up a game and the game is just obnoxiously loud and doesn't have an in-game volume control or something like that.
I haven't found a game that doesn't have in-game volume control.
Or it's got a bad volume control or something like that.
You put the slider to 0 for volume, the volume's off. You put it to 10, it's very loud. I don't know.
Switching output audio on Windows 11 is more convoluted than 10. It's the same number of clicks. Just the difference is you can't see. It's the same number of clicks. You click on the volume control, and you click on the arrow next to the volume slider, and you click the output you want. On Windows 10, you click on the volume control, and it displays your current output, and you click on it, and then you select. It's the same number of clicks. You just can't see it.
What? Oh, what? For doing that?
Yeah.
For selecting the playback
That's right.
device, yeah.
Now, the only difference on 11 is that when you click on the volume, it shows you the current output, so you see it there. On 11, you just have to click an arrow, and then you see it. Oh. So it's actually the same number of clicks. I also had a problem with this, and I thought it was more convoluted. However, it's the same number of clicks. There's less information. But then also, that's the problem with Windows 11 in general, is everything is hidden. And that's kind of the problem with it, is that it's all still there, it's just hidden. And a lot of it you can get to in the same number of clicks, but again, it's hidden, and no one wants hidden information. I'm going to get these fans wired up.
You sound like terrible problems, Graham. Awful, awful problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they're not, if they're trivial problems, then why not upgrade?
I've no idea. Because I don't know what problems. If that makes sense, the audio mixer, just kind of going.
Yeah. Well, as you feel toward dragging documents onto an app on the taskbar, as do I feel about the audio mixer. Everyone cares about the feature they use, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I never drag icons onto the taskbar.
That surprised me when you said that.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I ever made me do that, I usually tab into the application. I'll click to pick up an icon, tab into the application, and then drop it onto the application. But I never drag down to the taskbar.
Which I guess makes sense with your mainlining Mac laptops for so long.
Yeah, that might be where I get it from. I mean, again, you can drag onto the icon in macOS as well. I think I just prefer to see where I'm going to drop the icon first. And granted, that's additional moves. Like dragging and then alt-tabbing is an additional move than just dragging it to the taskbar. So I completely see your point. Don't get me wrong. However, it's just not the way I use it.
Oh yeah. What I mean is it swaps the window for you. Like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean for it. So it does the window swapping, and then you can drag into the window to drop it. That's what I do.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there, and I agree. That's a useful feature, because if you wanted to alt-tab that, you'd have to tab through every open window you've got to get to the right one. So it's a great deal more moves to achieve the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely see your point.
Or I presume I can you can just click on the thing in the new alt-tab window. So perhaps, wait, have they changed the alt-tab window? Oh no, I Windows tabbed and thought I'd alt-tabbed.
Yeah. But now would be a good time to insert ads. No, don't.
Oh, okay.
Do not. All right. However, I bring back Chaplers. I'm putting side panels back on this thing, by the way. We're getting there. Let's see. Caradog, just smile and nod. Look, we've both got grief, all right? Where do you find the bloody task manager on 11? That is actually a grievance I have with 11. You have to right-click on the task button. You have to right-click on the start button itself now, not anywhere on the taskbar. And that makes me sad every time I use 11. That is actually something that really annoys me. And yeah, as Chris said, Control-Shift-Escape, but I'm not in the habit of that. I'm in the habit of just right-clicking on the taskbar and clicking on Task Manager anytime I want it. That's just the habit that I'm in. So yeah, it's less than ideal. Adam and IT brought to you by Rags Schlagans.
Right, Rags Schlagans.
Orun says, I've got the Go XLR Mini because it's nice to be able to control Spotify, Discord, and Game Sound individually. Yeah, I kind of want an audio interface as well, just because they're really good. So yeah, I'm kind of tempted to get one. Also, I've got the desk space for one now. So
I swear Chris is actually handicapped for having difficulty with being able to do Control, Shift, and Escape.
Yeah.
It requires 2 digits.
Yeah.
2 entire digits.
Clearly, Chris S. has never done a PRAM reset on a Mac before. You try doing Control-Option-PR, and I'll give you a tenner if you can do it with one hand. I'll rephrase that. Control-Option-PR, and then press the power button. Because that's actually what you have to do. Power button, Control-Option-PR.
Nope. Maybe on an 11-inch MacBook Air.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's see. Have you created the God mode folder on Windows 11? I haven't looked at God mode in a hot minute. Like every time there's a version of Windows, everyone raves about the secret God mode, and every time I'm just like, sure. This stuff is available elsewhere, and you never use most of it. So it's not something I've ever been particularly interested in, if I'm honest. I think there are some people that like instant access to all of these features, and it's not something that I find useful. It's good to know that it exists, though. If you've never heard of God mode on Windows, look up Windows God mode. Basically, it creates a shortcut to a lot of deep system settings. It creates shortcuts to them directly on the desktop. It doesn't unlock any secret features that you can't get to by other means. It just gives you quick access to them. So it's not some super secret hacker thing. It just is quick access to very deep system settings. but arguably I don't think it's useful because you should never need quick access to those settings. It's an interesting. Two keys with a single finger, that's nonce behavior. Are you a pecker when you're typing? Do you peck the keyboard? You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, good, yeah. I wasn't sure if you were going to give me a funny look for pecking the keyboard.
No, I'm giving you a funny look because most people who peck I've seen use these fingers, not these fingers.
The middle finger?
So,
why would
pecking
you peck
like this.
Why would you peck with a middle finger? Because it's the longest finger? Is that the theory? Is that their logic?
I don't know.
Hands up if you're a
But
pecker.
flake is the creamiest, flakiest chocolate.
Okay.
Middle finger pecking, that's middle-aged woman behaviour. See, Chris gets it.
Are you a middle-aged woman, Chris? I mean, you know, I think that's a legitimate question. Let's see. All in one place, you found it really handy in Windows 11. You know what? For Windows 11, considering how much Windows 11 buries a lot of stuff, that might be a legitimate thing to say. So that's fair. Watch those women with long nails type. Yeah, that's fair.
I was somewhat surprised with someone using an iPhone where their nails were like, and they were like using an iPhone like, and
with the claws, yeah, and they're like spider hands, you know.
I was just like, what? The hunting eagle strategy.
The finger circles above the keyboard until the finger finds its target and dives down to hit. Oh God, that's wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Ugh.
Imagine just actually being able to type.
I'm getting there. I look at the keyboard most of the time, and also I still tap the space bar with my index finger most of the time. I know that's a hot take, but there are dozens of us. Dozens. I can be whatever I want. You sure can, Chris. You sure can. Does macOS have a God mode? I don't. Yeah, terminal. Because you know, if you're a power user on macOS, you're going to terminal a lot of stuff. You know, macOS has this magic thing called terminal with bash in it. Although, in fairness, when you know, PowerShell on Windows is enormously powerful these days. The PowerShell was a big deal for Windows because previously all you had was the DOS prompt or the command prompt, which was not really very good. But PowerShell can do a lot in Windows. But the problem is just no one knows PowerShell. Whereas by comparison, in macOS, if you open terminal, you've got a bash prompt, which is the same as Linux. So, well, it's very, very similar to Linux. It's like Dutch and German kind of thing. They're very, very similar languages. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were saying it's like trying to use Dutch in German.
Yeah, but you know,
like that sounds very backwards.
If you speak Dutch, then you can probably understand German, and if you speak German, you can probably understand Dutch. You know, it's the same with Bash in macOS or Linux. They're very, very similar. So that's the thing: is if you want God mode in macOS, you learn Bash. And that will give you an enormous amount of power user stuff. I'm seeing that was a hot take, wasn't it? That Dutch and German are very similar.
I mean they are. Dutch is just, you know, bad German.
Says two white Brits. Yeah. I'm sorry.
What was the comment? What was the comment? To move between one and the other, you need a potato.
I don't get it.
Apparently, speaking one sounds like the other, just with a potato in your mouth.
Which one is which?
Yes.
I dare you to answer that one.
I can't remember.
O-Run is trying to drag the show back onto topic. Let's see how those new fans look, hey chaps? Let's do it, you know. O-Run is the real MVP today. I've just been drinking through this cider steadily. All right, okay. Power. I'm going to deprive myself of the chat, which is probably for the best, if I'm honest. Ooh, hang on a sec. Capture card. No, no, we don't need a capture card. We don't care. We're finishing up in a minute. I think we've been going for 3 hours, haven't we? What's the timer on in OBS?
4 hours.
No, please tell me it's not.
17 minutes.
It's not. You're lying.
No, it's 3 hours and 10.
3 hours and 10. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I was like, please tell me that I've not been... Because there's been a lot of rant and a lot of waffle today. So there's the light loops at the front. You see different amounts of them at different angles because of the slats in the front case, which is one of the things I kind of like about it. So got the fans at the back there.
Awful waffle.
Awful waffle. Waffle, waffle, waffle. Okay, right. Right, they've all lit up, so I'm just going to log into this thing and get iCUE open.
And set everything to rainbow.
Oh, there we go. It's all iCUE just kicked in and put everything on the watercolor color scheme. And the watercolor color scheme is actually really nice. It doesn't come through. Is
the watercolor color scheme white?
Yeah. Well, it's white with bits of color in it. It's not coming up on the camera very well. However, it is. It's pastel. It's a pastel rainbow wave, except instead of think of rainbow wave, but instead of the off being off, the off is white, and it looks really nice. It's a much more pleasing rainbow vomit kind of thing. However, it really doesn't show on camera very well. But it's a really, it's really pretty.
Hold on.
Yeah, you come around to have a look at it. Or are you going to try and bring it out on camera properly? Have you got the prime on there, or have you got zoom?
There you go. Now you have some color, I think.
Yeah, there's a bit more color there. So yeah. So yeah, I'll leave it on. Obviously, I can open iCUE and I can change this to any color I like. But you guys have seen RGB before. There's nothing new to see there. So yeah, there's a little bit of dialing I've got to do. I've got to go into BIOS and set fan profiles and stuff like that. But I'm going to do that off camera, to be honest. But the advantage is there is significantly more light in the case now, which is what I wanted. I wanted more wash light in the case, which we now have achieved. You like mine on just on white? Yeah, I like white as well. However, the watercolor looks really nice. It adds a little bit of color without it being rainbow vomit. And especially if you go into iCUE and you set it on watercolor slow, slow rainbow wave is very pretty. But the reason why people often call it rainbow vomit is a lot of... let's turn that around to that angle. There we go. A lot of rainbow wave profiles are really fast, so it's going and it's not very pleasant. Whereas a very slow rainbow wave is really nice to look at. Although, I mean, that much being said, I don't use it on anything myself, but it's a good showcase as well. It demonstrates its ability to do any color. So yeah.
What's this, Phantom of the Opera? Eh?
I don't know. Is it because I'm going...
With that precise sound effect for the fast rainbow. That sounds like you're doing Flight of a Bumblebee.
All right.
Excellent.
I think I've enjoyed this conversation in English.
It's been something.
Yeah. Anything else in chat?
It has been Bill and Ben. Spectacular.
No, the light's out. Yeah. Next video in line? Nothing, actually. I am working on a review of... Where is it? There it is. I'm working on a review of this Acasis M.2 SSD dock. I was hoping to have this one... I was hoping to finish recording this today. However, there's a bunch of footage where I looked at the recording and I was like, this is all crap and I need to reshoot all of this. So this is not going to be done for Monday. I've got a short coming out on Monday that is about opening stuff in WinZip. I know, I'm selling it. However,
7-zip.
7-zip. Yes, sorry. No, don't use WinZip. Like, what happened to WinZip, man?
Was it ever good?
I mean, once upon a time, it was the only way to open a zip file, but...
Was it?
Probably. I guess WinRAR was out at the same time.
I thought it was PKZip.
Don't know. I never used that.
It was the first one.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like 1986 here on DOS.
No, I'm just talking about growing up. I used WinZip.
I'm talking about growing up, you child.
Anyway, I'm working on a review of this, and so
that
but
one.
It's not going to be out in time.
Yeah, PKZip and PKNZip.
Yeah.
Haha! I have been vindicated.
All right.
It's the joke about the only person who ever gets into heaven is the one person who bought WinRAR.
Yes. My favourite part was at one of the LAN Raiders LAN parties that I go to. A competition prize that was not announced beforehand. Competition prize was, I kid you not, a WinRAR license. It was the best thing ever. So there's like one of the chaps who goes to the LAN Raiders series actually has a WinRAR license. The only person I know who owns it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Sleepwalker says, after talking about the 3060 last week, got one for 300 quid. 1 day later, it went up to 370.
Damn. There we go. Good deals. You heard it here first, people. This is the show to watch. We've got all the insider information.
And the best home appliance repairs on YouTube live streams.
Absolutely. No one else fixed it as fast as we did. And on that bombshell, it's time to end.
Good night.
All right, thank you very much. See you all next time. Twitch.tv/NethSM. I'm playing Elden Ring tomorrow. Come on,
or join the Discord and find the notification in the notification channel.
Discord, you can get notifications when I go live. Bye.